We got Jesse Ventura coming in today, who believes that, the government took down the Twin Towers, we're learning?
Yeah, apparently he's of that mindset that it was a controlled explosion, blah, blah, blah. We'll have to see what his side is.
Well, we don't have to study for our Jesse Ventura interview today.
No, that's for sure.
It's going to be a bit heated.
I heard
Let's start building our wall between us and the interview.
Yeah. I heard him on Larry King, I don't know, maybe a week ago, and he sounded quite reasonable about a lot of political things, about George Bush and the candidates, Hillary and Obama. Sounded reasonable. But then you come out with something like that, oh my God, it just kind of takes your credibility and flushes it down the toilet, as my grandma used to call it, the toilet. I have to go to the toilet.
Hey, let's get back to Jesse Ventura. So we got the audio. He was on another show recently.
Did he have his feather boa on at the time?
He's looking kind of
ragged.
Well, look at the.
Yeah, I saw.
Why would that screen be on?
He's looking like Scorch. I don't know what's going on with him.
He's growing one of these really long goatees. I think this is a current picture. And then he's putting rubber bands in it. This goatee I'm looking at has got to be about a foot, close to a foot.
You know what he looks like? He looks like James Taylor's evil twin. That's who he's looking like these days.
He looks like he knows some karate.
Yeah.
So this is Jesse Ventura on the Alex Jones show last week.
First and foremost, I think, is the fact that, okay, in New York City and Manhattan, 2 planes struck 2 buildings. We'll all be in agreement on that, I think. But how is it that a 3rd building fell 5 hours later? You know, what they call World Trade Center building number 7. And for people that think, well, it was just a smaller building, it was 51 stories high. How could this building just implode into its own footprint 5 hours later? That's my first question. The 9/11 Commission never even brought it up. They didn't devote even 1 page to that in their big volume of investigation.
Well, the answer is obvious. The government wanted to get away with one.
Yeah.
You dope.
Can you just maybe accept the fact that when 2 giant skyscrapers plummet right next to this building, that perhaps some damage is going to be done to it and it will fall down, and that a fire inside of it can weaken the structure, and that there isn't a precedent for this? That you can't look back and go, well, when 2 100-story towers come tumbling down right next to another building, in the past 15 times that's happened, that other building never fell. But this time it did. Wacky things happen. Things happen like that. And that makes more sense than any other theory. Go to the simplest thing. That's what you got to do. What you got to do first is eliminate the simple things. You ever see Sling Blade?
Oh, yeah.
You ever see when the guy's trying to fix the little lawnmower?
Sure.
And stupid Sling Blade there goes over and goes, it's out of gas.
Sometimes the simple answer is the answer.
Exactly.
Sometimes the obvious answer is just...
It's just it. People don't want to accept it. They don't want to believe it. They want this big conspiracy. They need it in order to just survive in this country. They need some kind of conspiracy. But no, you know what? Buildings fell down. There's a lot of crap flying all over the place. Some things hit other things, and the building fell down hours later.
And why would the government need to, knock down another building in that circumstance?
Yeah.
What would be the reasoning of that?
At that point, you got the 2 World Trade Center towers coming down. Let's really freak people out and get rid of this one no one really knows about.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 2. How could those buildings fall at the speed of gravity?
Oh.
You know, if you put a stopwatch on them, both of those World Trade Center buildings were on the ground in 10 seconds.
Were they?
How can that be? If you took a billiard ball and dropped it from the height of the World Trade Center in a vacuum, it would hit the ground in 9.3 seconds.
So I guess we were able to push the building down faster.
I guess so, yeah.
What is he getting at?
I don't know, because wouldn't it just fall at that speed anyway?
It was the hand of God just pushing down the building as fast as he could.
Whether it just falls down because planes hit it, or it is a controlled demolition, how would it fall faster than it could possibly fall?
It would fall the same way. You dummy.
I don't.
This guy really is
get it.
coming on our show today.
Oh my!
There is a mathematical formula, which I don't know what it's like. So and so's theorem,
right?
Which explains it's got something.
Dr. Kaku.
He would know, of course.
Of course he would.
It's got something to do with the rate of why. Somebody did explain it because they heard someone doing an explanation, and they're like, "Yeah, but you don't understand math because you don't know so and so's theorem." And they explained exactly what the propulsion was, and it made sense.
And then they cry and go, "Shut up!" Gatekeeper. Yeah, we are the gatekeeper, the Illuminati.
I used to like this Jesse Ventura too. He was pretty outrageous as a politician.
Let's give him a chance to explain himself, though.
Yeah,
he
well,
has to explain himself. I mean,
And if you took that same billiard ball and dropped it 10 stories at a time
On your head.
merely stopped it and started it, it would take 30 seconds. If you dropped it every floor of the World Trade Center to the ground, simply stopping and starting it on gravity, it would take over 100 seconds to reach the ground.
Amazing.
This
Amazing,
idiot
huh?
doesn't even confront him with that dumb theory.
First of all, why would you do that to a billiard ball?
Exactly. And who
Amazing.
Who thinks a building is taking 100 seconds to fall?
I know it would take.
The building's falling. People are having lunch and then walking out of it.
It's like, we're on the first floor. We got plenty of time.
He's getting his knowledge from cartoons because that's how buildings and cartoons fall.
Yeah. Dunk, a dunk.
So what is he saying? That every floor had to have dynamite in it?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
I don't know what he's saying.
God.
I don't know what he's
And
saying.
yet they're telling us that, and I could go on now after studying it. The planes hit the building. Okay, jet fuel is 4/5 kerosene, which is not a hot burning fuel. And they want us to believe that it melted these steel structured girders and caused these buildings to pancake collapse to the ground.
All it took.
I was on the site within 2 weeks after it happened, and I saw none of these pancakes. Wouldn't they all be piled up in a huge mass on the ground? And yet everything was blown into dust.
I'm starving.
insane.
Earl, we got any pancakes back there?
He's insane. He's insane. You know how much paper was in those buildings? Have you ever started a fire? You could get a fire burning pretty hot.
Pretty hot.
And
the
around with a fireplace.
The whole melting of the metal thing is also another fallacy. The metal doesn't have to melt. It just had to be weakened enough. It had to be soft enough. Metal doesn't go from this solid to liquid form instantly. When you heat metal up, as everyone knows, heat, the molecules move faster, the substance gets softer, weaker. That's what happened. It didn't take it to be dripping molten metal. It just took it to be a little weaker, and that's all it took. The structure was damaged, the beams weakened, the building came down. Simple as that, gatekeeper.
You know, and when you look at it from that aspect, none of it makes any sense. If you apply common sense again to it,
what you're saying?
It does not make any sense. Never before in the annals of history
Annals.
has a fire caused a steel-structured building to fall to the ground.
Here it is.
No, I can't.
Never in the annals of history has a fire caused a steel building to fall down.
I can't wait to ask him. Then how was this accomplished?
Yeah.
With what, thousands and thousands of workers.
That's my argument all the time. We've seen so many shows. I've seen so many shows on demolitions of buildings. I enjoy watching it on Discovery. It's fun. It's educational. I like watching things fall down, especially old people cracking their hips.
Right.
Well, but how do you get a crew? You know what it takes? They show crews for weeks at least working on buildings. They got to strip it out. They got to drill holes in the cement structures. They got to plant dynamite in there.
Yeah.
They got to run cables, wires that are giant cables running out of the building. They put come-alongs and springs that pull the beams in towards each other. How do you do this while people are typing?
And how do you wire it all together to one little? kapooey thing.
To one
kapooey.
hitting kablammy thing.
Yeah.
The plunger thing that that Wile E. Coyote pushes down cleverly.
Time for the kapooey.
I don't know
kapooey.
how, but the Roadrunner has taken the dynamite and moved it right behind the stupid coyote, and he never knows.
Well,
he hits the plunger. Also, the tragic ending of Tom from Tom and Jerry all the time.
Yes.
He does that constantly, blowing himself up with the plunger thingy.
Well, this is what Ventura thinks happened.
You've worked with explosives. What does it look like to you?
Another radio guy.
He's worked with explosives?
I got to stop our Jesse Ventura audio to point out another radio guy. Worked with explosives. Another man-cow like-sounding guy. Why talk in your normal voice? Thank you, Brother Weeze. Thank you. He's out of work right now. He's the king of Rochester radio. I thank him for teaching me the best lesson ever in radio. Simply go on the air and use your regular voice. Yeah, I was radio guy back in the day.
Were you?
And then Brother Weeze said he basically slapped me one day.
La.
Well, now that was more character-driven crap. But then he slapped me and said, "Just use your regular voice, and you'll be ahead of everybody." Listen to this guy.
You've worked with explosives. What does it look like to you?
Well, upon looking at the film in super slow motion and the way the building fell and comparing that to the way that they do like a controlled demolition of a hotel in Las Vegas, they both fell identical. And it just is beyond me. And I kick myself for when it initially happened that the light didn't go off. But again, I was so shocked that this thing had even taken place that I apologize for not being more aware, but I don't think I was alone, as were most of the people in the United States.
Wow. Even if they took me into the basement of the White House and said, all right, look, man, you're a pretty powerful person now, so we got to tell you what happened. Mm-hmm. You know, the Bill Burr bit, or who came up with that bit on the show? It's brilliant.
Well, Bill Burr is always saying that, so I'll just give him credit.
I think it might be Bill Burr, and they take you into the basement of the White House and go, look, it's true, look, and they prove it to me, that they show me all the paperwork, I would still not believe it.
Still go, come on, you couldn't pull that off.
Right.
I don't care what you did. Show me the Kennedy thing, how you got rid of him. Show me all the other fun stuff.
Right.
But no way in hell did you do that.
Jesse the Body Ventura. He seems like a pretty bright guy.
Well, I guess he was at some point.
Let's say hi to
Loved him in Predator.
Loved him.
Who didn't?
I loved him when he was doing the WWF stuff.
Yeah.
When he was the commentator ringside.
Fantastic.
Had feuds with Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Let's say hi to Nigel in Kentucky. Nigel.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
Unless I'm severely mistaken, the guy with the radio voice is Alex Jones, a conspiracy theorist who has his own little show, and he delves into this topic often.
That's kind of, you can't blame him even, because if you find a niche like that in radio where you're a conspiracy guy, that's kind of cool. You can sit there on the air and just kind of blurt out all this stuff, because I'm sure it gets the phones ringing, and, you can't even blame him.
Yeah.
Stupid radio voice.
Oh, no, I'm just blaming him for the radio. I saw what you have there.
It's a good gig. It's like, the hard right-wing, guys.
Oh.
You think they live their entire life like that? Come on. But they got a great gig going, so they do it.
Jimmy, give me your radio voice.
Ooh.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Jesse, what are you trying to say?
Well, Jesse, I think that's fantastic and very interesting.
I think you got to put a lot of olives in your mouth.
Now, if I had a cue ball in my mouth, and I do.
So
why do you think the government would do that?
Ooh, that's good, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
I see enough of these hacks when I'm on the road.
Do you?
I got a bright idea. I've been thinking about this for a while, and then listening to, what was his name again? Alex what? Alex Jones interviewing Jesse Ventura.
With his radio voice.
Radio voice. Here on the Opie and Anthony Show, we pride ourselves in talking with our regular voices.
That's right, Opie.
Regular voices with all the stuttering.
That's how I'm talking today. Oh, how are you talking, Jimmy?
Talking like that.
And I'm going to talk like this.
These are our radio voices.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, no, I think they're going to use their radio voices today.
Bit over.
You think they're going to do it all morning? I don't know. I'll have to listen to after the break to find out. Okay, I'll listen too.
Oh, God.
I'm thinking the Radio Voice Hall of Fame bit.
Ooh.
E-Rock, you think you can handle that one? The Radio Hall of Fame voice?
You know, if it was March, we could do a bracket game on that.
Well,
Radio Voice, guys.
We're thinking of doing April Craziness.
We got April Craziness going.
Yeah,
it's already halfway through April, but...
Oh, yeah, we're going to start that, I don't know, next week, halfway through April.
I think it's going to go into mayhem.
I like May.
We call it mayhem.
Radio Voice Hall of Fame. Who would you put on that voice on that list? There's a lot of guys that sound exactly the same. You got Mancow, Bubba the Love Sponge, Lycus, and this Alex Jones. They all have pretty much the same voice. Mm-hmm. The same voice on the radio. Who else would you put on that list, E-Rock?
E-Rock.
We need examples of all these guys. And you know what we can play? We could play Guess the Radio Voice.
Guess the Radio Douche.
It would be very tough to do because they really do sound alike.
Yeah.
Who else you got, E-Rock? All right, you're not ready.
Just kidding.
Why don't you just tell him to go to commercials then, E-Rock? Go. We got to get right back into this. It's the Opie and Anthony Show. Robert Kelly hanging with us today. His CD, Just a Tip, is out there and available for purchase.
Yeah.
And we also want to welcome Jesse Ventura to the Opie and Anthony Show. Hey, Jesse, how are you, sir?
Good. Opie, how are you doing today? Anthony, I'm doing very well.
Great.
Thank you. although I'm on West Coast time, so this is very early in the morning for me.
Oh, yeah.
It's very early if you're on East Coast time, too.
Okay.
We haven't gotten used to this whatsoever. The book's called Don't Start the Revolution Without Me, in bookstores now.
So you on Larry King? And a lot of you make a lot of sense on a lot of stuff. I like your politics. I like your dislike of a lot of the politics that's going on right now.
Yeah, very much so. That's one of the reasons I wrote the book. And, it was very interesting because I had 2 New York Times bestsellers prior to this book. And so I didn't care about making money on this book. I didn't take a pittance for front money compared to before I got these big chunks of change to write the 2 previous books. But we took this when Dick Russell and we both lived down in the Baja, deep down in the Baja in Mexico, and we would meet once a week to work on the book. So we completed it all down there and brought it back here. I was turned down by 24 publishers.
Why is that?
Why?
And I don't know. I mean, I have 2 New York Times bestsellers, so you'd think I'd have some credibility.
Sure.
You can't answer why. They just turn you down. And so we finally found Skyhorse, which is a relatively new publishing company. But the good thing is they're affiliated with Norton Distribution, which is huge.
Oh, Jimmy's
Jimmy,
wow.
out of your condo.
But I mean, and that's the key. Once you're published, then you got to make sure you're with the right distributor so they can get the book out.
Get the book out there, yeah.
And they're doing a great job right now, and we'll see what happens. Speaking of Larry King, I was stunned that night when he asked the question, "Should Jesse Ventura be running for president?" Mm-hmm. And he had 15,000 people respond. 88% said yes. 88. I figured if I'd get 60, that would be tremendous.
Well, was he implying you should, or he thought you were?
No.
Larry's been known.
Larry's
really
a little out of it
what's
there.
going on.
No.
Aren't you president?
And no, I'm not running. I would have to sit down, and my wife, after 32 years, might leave me if I did. So,
well, the whole thing is, there seems to be this want for change from the people in this country, but it looks like business as usual. Even Obama is running on this campaign of change, yet it's still Washington politics. You're pretty extreme in your want and your the way you would execute a change in this country.
You mean common sense is now extreme?
So that's what I liked about what you had to say and what I was listening to. It sounds very sensible.
Yeah, well, I've always been a common sense person, and as much as Barack Obama talks change, he's still just another Democrat, and he will have his strings pulled by the Democratic Party. They're all puppets, and that's where I'm different.
Well, that's what I was listening to you saying. No party. You said that there shouldn't even be parties.
That's how I feel about it. I think you should run on who you are, and not on. I like to refer to them as the Democrats and the Republicans. They're the same as the Crips and Blood street gang, only these guys wear Brooks Brothers suits.
Yeah, you hate the two-party system, obviously.
Yeah, well, I hate the two parties because they have no credibility. If I can tell a story quickly, when I ran for mayor of Brooklyn Park, the 6th largest city in Minnesota, way back in 1990, it was a nonpartisan election, which means there's no party involvement because it's a local election, which many of them are. But yet the leaders of the Democratic and Republican parties sent a letter to every citizen of Brooklyn Park calling me the most dangerous man in the city. Well, I ended up winning the election, defeating the 25-year incumbent 67% to 33%.
Right.
2-1 to him. I won all 21 precincts, including the one he lived in. Oh, that's got to be a message. You can't even win with your neighbors. Well, here's the point I'm getting to. After I won that election, 2 weeks later, these two parties then came courting me independently to join them. Mm-hmm. And I said to them, but why would you want the most dangerous man in the city? You know, a month ago, you wrote letters to the people of Brooklyn Park, and now because I won, I'm now an important person who should be part of your party. You don't even care what I stand for. And that showed me clearly they have no credibility whatsoever.
Yeah, that's part of the Washington politics where they'll
Minnesota.
Beat the crap out of each other. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about now with Obama and Hillary especially. Yeah. They will beat the crap out of each other until one of them becomes the candidate, and then the other one's going to hop on board and talk about how great they are. And where is the credibility? It's just
none. Yeah. With them, they have no credibility, these two parties. It's whether you can win and deliver a victory for them, right? And then will you stay in line with them? You know, march in their lockstep once you do get their nomination or go on to win as a part of their two parties.
Mm-hmm. You obviously have a passion for politics. Why did you get into it so late in your life?
I never really had a passion for it, and I never expected to get into it.
It seems like it came out of nowhere, though, because we obviously all know you from the wrestling and
you know, it was a new job. It actually started in that mayoral race.
Right.
I lived in a neighborhood that had a big, huge wetland, and they were going to give us concrete curb and gutter. And of course, when they gather water, they have to put it somewhere. Well, we were right next to the Mississippi River, and it was illegal for them to put this water into the Mississippi River, so they were going to all pump it into this wetland. And 400 of us in our neighborhood signed a petition to City Hall and took it up there saying that was unacceptable. Well, we were voted down 7-0. And I sat back and thought, I could have accepted 5-2 or 4-3. We couldn't convince one of these people, not one, 400 people. That's a lot for a neighborhood,
right?
In a smaller city. Mm-hmm. And so it was at that point I started paying attention to politics. And one day I was up there in an argument with them, and I was at the podium, because in city council meetings, they're the grunts. They got to look the people right in the eye. That's why as a mayor, I know what it's like to be on the grunt level of politics. And I looked at the council and I said, and the mayor, the 25-year incumbent, and I said, you're going to make me run against you, aren't you? And I didn't really want to do it, but his buddy up there started laughing and said, you can't win.
Oh, boy.
And no one tells me that, that I can't. I'm a Navy SEAL. We don't believe in the word can't. And so I knew when I walked out that night I was running for mayor, and I became the mayor. Then I did one term. Could have been reelected. I went back to the private sector for 4 years, and then I saw an injustice happening in Minnesota where we had huge budget surpluses, and these guys were spending it. Now, what this means is that they budgeted, but because the economy was so strong, their taxes brought in millions more dollars than what they budgeted for. They have no right to spend that money like kids in a candy store. So I started saying if I were the governor, I would give this money back to the people. It's not theirs, it's ours. Well, I kind of, as you know, on radio, your credibility is everything, and I kind of backed myself into a corner by saying if I'd have ran for governor, and so then I ended up having to run for governor and amazingly won.
Wow. Why no? Because it said here, you in the back of the book, it says you were one of the most highest approval ratings in history as Minnesota governor. Why did you not go again? I mean,
because again, I believe that one of our inherent problems today in government is the career politician.
Right.
I don't think our forefathers had in mind that people would make 35 and 40-year careers out of getting elected, and the incumbent has a huge advantage in getting reelected. So I choose to only do one term and then go back to what I used to do. Imagine that concept, serving, and when you're done serving, going back. I was one of 2 independent governors. A lot of people don't know that Angus King of Maine was a 2-term independent governor up in Maine, and ironically, Minnesota and Maine every year lead the nation in voter turnout. So if you offer a viable third-party candidate or a third candidate, you're going to get a much higher voter turnout. Well, Angus, after serving 8 years as mayor, the media charged up to him and said, "Governor, what's it going to be now? Congress, the Senate?" Angus looked down and said, "No, I'm going home." He said, I've spent 8 years. I got a lot of things at home that haven't been done, and I'm going back to do that. So, and the other reason, quickly, my wife's health. I didn't go public with this, but my wife contracted Epstein-Barr mono the moment I won governor, and it evolved into this chronic fatigue syndrome, and she paid hell for it. And I will say this, she means way more to me than holding any public office does. And so we've now been living in the Baja. Her health is completely back now. So, maybe I'm back now. But rest assured, if her health goes awry again, I've been married to her for 32 years, and she's the mother of my children. That's far more important to me than holding a political office, although I would say there are probably a few politicians that couldn't make that statement. By the way, I'm a statesman, not a politician. Statesmen come and serve and go back to what they used to do.
Yeah.
Politicians make it careers.
Well, that's why you barely get any change. It's business as usual. It's the same people in there doing the same thing. There's no new ideas coming in because there's no new people with fresh new ideas. It really is tragic. I want to know some of your stances on some popular and unpopular issues going on. The war. How do you feel about that?
I've opposed the Iraq war since before it happened, and I'll tell you my personal reasons for it. My father was a World War II veteran. My mother was a World War II veteran. She was a nurse in North Africa. My brother's a Vietnam veteran, as am I. I never believed that I would ever see my country line up our military at the border of another sovereign nation, regardless of a dictatorship. There's dozens of them out there. And we would invade that country, overthrow that government, and occupy it. That's what the Nazis did. That's what the communists did. And now we've done it. And I can't hold my country on a pedestal anymore because of George W. Bush. He is the orchestrator of this folly. He was a Vietnam draft dodger along with Cheney. I like to refer to them as chicken hawks. They were chicken when it was their time to go fight, and now they're hawks. And his National Guard service, if I would have served in the manner that he did, not showing up for duty station, allowing your flight physical to lapse by not showing up for it and losing your flight status of being a pilot, and all the things that he did, he dishonors my honorable discharge, because I do not believe I would have gotten an honorable discharge if I would have served in the manner that he did. He deserved only a general discharge, not an honorable one. When he took off and went to Harvard Business School, he was supposed to report to the National Guard unit up in Boston. He never did. That's an unauthorized absence. You get court-martialed for that generally.
Now, you didn't fall for the thing. A lot of people were bamboozled by the weapons of mass destruction, and that was the reason we were going in. Because I got to be honest with you, at the beginning of the war, everybody was frothing at the mouth looking at this evidence on television and going, hey, if this guy's got all this stuff, maybe we do have to step in here, and he is a threat to national security and world security, the stability of the area. And then when we found out that this was all crap, all of a sudden the war took on this other thing of we must free these people. And again, the dictatorship, I don't care. If the people get aggravated enough at their leaders, there's supposed to be a revolution. This is the way it works, not some other country swooping in to put our values on people that don't really want. If you want freedom, you'll fight and die for it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, why was there a rush to war? He had no delivery mechanism, even if he had weapons of mass destruction. You have to have a delivery mechanism to get him here. You think Saddam Hussein had rockets that could reach the United States? Absolutely not.
We were keeping a close eye on him.
And if he certainly could reach anyone else like Israel, if he tried, you think the Israelis wouldn't respond? Guess again.
Yeah.
You know, the point was, what was the rush to war? The inspectors, he said he'd let them back in again. Why couldn't we wait 4 or 5 months for these inspectors to do their job? But it was like, oh no, we got to get in there before the inspectors get in there. There was this rush to war to get in there, you know. And like Richard Clark, the only honest guy who in front of the 9/11 Commission, the only one who apologized for 9/11. Like he said, the day after, they were talking Iraq. Remember that? And he was saying, but it was Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, and they were saying, no, get us Iraq.
Right.
See, this was all a planned operation, you know, from top to bottom. And I'll tell you quite honestly now, I have my doubts about 9/11.
Now that brings us there. We listened to some clips of you talking.
Can we take a break because we're really late, and
absolutely.
we'll pick it up with the 9/11 stuff? Because, like Ann said, we start our show because we found that really interesting, and we definitely don't agree with you. But I want to get into this and see.
Well, we'll see what.
Let's have some fun with that,
and we'll see how you counter. My point is, why is?
No, stop.
All right.
After the break, trust me. We'll give you the floor.
How about please stop? Just stop.
Yeah.
6'8" and he's a Navy SEAL. If you'd like to stop, we'd appreciate it.
It's just a good.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Stay seated.
It's a good place.
I understand.
I understand you would.
No, you got to go
to the break.
Put the show on. Go ahead.
All right. The book is called Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. It's Jesse Ventura. When we come back, we're going to talk about 9/11 big time. So stay there. Opie and Anthony. Got to get right back into this. The Opie and Anthony Show. We got Jesse Ventura in studio. Very interesting guest, by the way.
Oh, he's great.
The book is Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. It's in bookstores and on Amazon.com right now as we speak.
And a couple of quick signings if you want to meet Jesse and get your book signed. Today's the 8th. I believe the 10th. He's going to be in New Jersey at Bookends Bookstore. It's a great independent bookstore in Ridgewood, New Jersey. It's really close to New York. And then April 11th, he will be at the Barnes & Noble on Route 3 in Clifton, also fairly accessible from New York City. That's at 7:30 p.m. on April 11th, and the Bookends in Jersey, 6:30 on the 10th.
No book signings in New York City?
Don't ask me.
That's a little weird.
That's beyond me. You got to talk to the publishers and all that stuff. I just go where I'm told.
I think they're scared of you. They're scared of Jesse Ventura.
He said none were available. Like a lot of the bookstores were saying nothing was available, so maybe they're feeling that this is
they're scared.
Problem. I don't know.
They don't want to touch this project for some reason, which makes me want to read this book even more.
Yeah, well,
so the 9/11 thing. Where do we start with this?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that why our president would stonewall any investigation for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? I was an elected official. If something like that would have happened on my watch, I would welcome the investigation immediately so that we could learn from it and hopefully be able to stop it from ever happening again. Why would our president, the only reason he finally agreed to it was the fact that the survivors of it, the relatives, put so much political pressure that they had to finally succumb to the pressure. So why would he do that?
I think there was this feeling of, we must protect national security. There are secrets that need to be kept. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but anytime you have a big event, there seems to be...
Or anytime they want to cover up something, they throw it into national security, which means we're not allowed to see it.
That too. But now the problem I have with this 9/11 conspiracy...
Wait. Let me lead for a moment on this. Why is it that...
You're bigger. You're an ex-Navy SEAL. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, no. Why is it that if you simply bring it up and you have questions, you're immediately attacked? Your credibility, not you guys. Your credibility's attacked. They attack you and call you a conspiracy theorist. Okay, the government's is just a conspiracy theory too. There's no proof to what they've told us. Now, what they want us to believe and what they've sold us is that 19 Islamic radical terrorists came to this country armed with box cutters. And they defeated our multi-billion-dollar air defense system, all while taking orders from a bearded guy in a cave in Afghanistan.
Now that's
when you phrase it like that, it sounds
oversimplified
ludicrous.
version.
What
I'll
do you
tell
mean?
you what.
That oversimplified.
Yeah,
That's what they
it's
told
very
us happened.
oversimplified.
That is what happened.
I think what happened. Yes, box cutters. Now, in this day and age, if someone pulls a box cutter out on a plane, he's going to get his ass handed to him by the entire group of passengers. The weapon they had was hope. That was their weapon. The hope that they were going to land safely and let's just leave these guys alone because it was an unprecedented event. That's why people didn't take action. That's why just a few Islamics with box cutters were able to fly these planes into buildings. Why can't that be accepted as we were hated? We still are around the world.
All right.
And these people decided.
Okay. All right. Now,
Okay.
Wait,
all
Jesse,
right.
before you
Now,
answer, one thing he forgot.
What?
Is that, and they had this from phone calls from people.
Yeah, the phone calls
Right,
that
but
don't work
they,
from that high.
Right,
you
but
know,
they were a lot
yeah.
lower when they were coming to the buildings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Was that they
always
thought,
make it convenient answer here?
Well,
so
that's accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't at 30,000 feet.
It's
the bottom line. They thought they had bombs. I'm saying that's another thing is they thought they were going to.
How come we couldn't find the black boxes? The two black boxes, the indestructible black boxes that you could. They've had planes fly into. Mountains, and they find the black boxes. Yet the two that hit the trade centers, those convenient black boxes, could never be located.
Did they also
wait a
find no
minute.
computer monitors or any of that stuff?
Wait.
In the wreckage?
Wait a minute. These are indestructible. They're designed to survive a crash.
Right.
Yet they found supposedly the paper passport of one of the hijackers. That conveniently they could find that, but not the black boxes.
I would
Now,
never say there's not huge inconsistencies.
all right. Okay. Now let's go on. Let's go on to the strikes themselves. Explain to me how these buildings could fall at the rate of gravity.
How they could fall at the rate of gravity.
Yeah, if you took a billiard ball and dropped it in a vacuum, it would hit the ground in 9.3 seconds from that height. These buildings were down in 10.
So what?
Now, wait a minute. Go to physics for a moment. You've got a moving object hitting one that's not. They're telling us they pancaked all the way to the ground. What, with no resistance?
But they also had
there was no resistance
they also
at all.
There's also something with the building's design where they kind of bowed out like a bow because of the way the buildings were designed. I mean, there was like a picture two bows being kind of bent out, so things are just falling through. And there was also, I heard this argument made, and
the building design.
There's a formula which explains
the building
why.
was designed to withstand a 707, which is a bigger plane.
Right. But first of all, and all these things that you're saying, like the fact that this
all I'm doing is asking questions.
I know, but I'm saying that we're trying to give some kind of common sense answers, and we give a common sense answer. You're
There
like,
ain't
well,
one.
that's because every answer you have is convenient. They weren't at 30,000 feet making those phone calls, and if this blithering idiot government could pull off this massive conspiracy, why do you do it with airplanes? Why don't you just? I mean, if they could go through all this, why don't you just park two trucks in the basement like was done in '93 and do it that way? A, you kill more people. B, you remove the nonsensical, the equation of the airplanes, all the phone calls that were made to loved ones. There's Arabs on the plane.
Yeah,
they
and
said.
you know, some of those neat phone calls that were made, did you ever call your mom and use your last name? Some of the calls, the last name was, "Hi, Mom, this is," and they used their last name.
So what's the explanation to that?
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Those are small things. Let's talk about...
Maybe they were doing that to leave a final record of themselves because they were dying.
Let's talk about the plane fuel. It's 4/5 kerosene. Plane fuel. Doesn't burn hot. Kerosene. Now, if you use a burner when you go camping, you use propane. That burns way hotter than kerosene. So by using their logic... if I turn my propane camp stove on for like 4 hours with the flames, shouldn't the grates melt? But they don't, do they? Yet they have us believing that kerosene could melt I-beam construction steel in a building.
It just softened it.
Wait. And the smoke got continually darker. Now, any fireman will tell you that when smoke gets continually darker, it's because of lack of oxygen, which means the fires were cooling,
Then why don't
not getting hotter.
firemen don't agree with you? Firemen think that what happened.
A lot of
happened.
firemen agree
I've never
with
met
me.
one. We've had a tremendous amount of cops listen to this show. I've never met a fireman that's thought that.
All right.
Ever.
All right. Getting back to the original thing, why, if you bring up questions on this, are you attacked?
No one's attacking you. We're bringing up
not
questions.
you.
But we're bringing up
You
questions
know what?
too.
You're
We're bringing up
failing
questions
to-
too. You're not answering the question.
I'll answer you.
I don't have the answers. I'm not saying that I do.
I'll let
but
you know why.
Nobody's given me an adequate answer on. And okay, now I realize that the world probably knows more about demolition than I do. Even though I spent 4 years as a member of the Navy underwater demolition team, and I was trained by Chief Warrant Officer Casey, who I consider the greatest demo man on the planet. But yet don't judge me to have any knowledge of demolition.
But then don't you know that what it takes to bring down a building in a controlled blast,
right.
the preparation work, the time, the stripping of the building, the pulling of beams with come-alongs. How do you do that in an office building?
Okay, all your 4 main structured beams were severed perfectly towards the inside. That's what you do with a shape charge, so it doesn't blow up outside.
Now, where did this happen?
Right in those buildings.
But how do they get it done without anyone noticing the work that was being done?
If you check on it, you'll find out that there were floors shut down weeks prior to for maintenance work where people were told not to come into work that day because they couldn't get to their floor that day. Maintenance was going on. My next point is this. How do 2 planes drop 3 buildings? World Trade Center Building 7, 51 stories high. Have you ever seen the tape of it?
Oh,
It imploded into its own footprint.
I did.
Now, they tell us that happened from debris hitting it.
When 2 100-story buildings fall, you're going to get unprecedented debris.
Yeah, powdered debris. Explain that to me, too. Why, when they fell, was all the cement blown to dust? It was powder. Remember the massive powder? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it come down in big chunks?
It did come down in
There
big
were
chunks.
some of the upper part.
It did.
Yeah.
Where did all this powder come from then? All this powder, and look
maybe
at
what was inside.
That
the
was
building?
cement. The way the towers were built, obviously the metal outer structure, and then the inner structure was the cement floors. Those powdered. The metal structures went out. If you watch the tapes, you can see them peeling like a banana peel out to the sides. That debris wrecked a lot of the buildings down there. It made one of them look like it had a claw mark right down the.
I was there a week after.
I was too.
We all were.
But I mean, I walked the site when they had
So
it all.
did we.
So did we.
Good. All right.
We got the inside scoop from
All right.
NYPD.
Then here's another question I have. Mm-hmm. How could there be molten metal then under the building which stopped the digging? Because they said that they couldn't dig in certain spots because of molten
metal. Still fires burning?
Yeah. If the fires happened way up 100 floors in the air, how could there be molten metal down below?
Well, wasn't there a blowout from, first of all, when the buildings fell, I imagine the fire didn't stay up there in midair. And also...
they were brutal fires because never before has a fire dropped a steel structure building in the annals of history.
But also we never had an explosion like that to watch in an office building that was constructed like that.
And also remember...
To answer your question, hold on, about the fire in the bottom, it was also alleged... Didn't you see the footage that was made by those French documentary guys? There was fire down in the basement because the engine and stuff came down through the elevator shaft.
There were a lot of flammable materials.
The only problem was the elevator shafts were sealed. They always are. So the fire's not going to go down the shafts.
No, but the flaming engine or flaming pieces of plane wreckage.
A lot of fuel went down there too.
Yeah.
Really, I think most of the fuel went on the initial contact. When you saw that huge explosion, there went all your fuel. What have you said? You're getting like Hollywood. You never run out of bullets.
No, it's
in Hollywood, when you have a gunfight, isn't it neat how they never run out of bullets? Where in reality, you got to carry it all yourself.
But Jesse, what about the path of least resistance? What about looking at this as an objective person and saying there were extremists that despise us as a country? Whether their reasons are valid or not, I'm not even getting into that. Right. But they despise us as a country. They came up with a great plan and kicked our ass.
Yes, they defeated our multi-billion-dollar air defense
they did.
system.
They did.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Time out now. Now, I'm going to ask this question.
Okay.
In my line of work in the Navy and the SEALs, you're not given the opportunity to fail. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. 9/11, 4,000 people died that day. If you recall a few months ago, do you remember when they moved those nuclear warheads from North Dakota down to like Louisiana, whatever it was, and they violated a bunch of security stuff? Well, I read 2 weeks later, 70 people lost their jobs over that. Now, with this huge, massive failure of our air defense system, Why was no one fired?
Because the people who allowed it to happen, unfortunately, were the captains who opened the door and got their throats cut. Did they really violate the air defense system?
But they were commercial
airliners. No, you can't. No. They were commercial airliners.
Wait.
How did they violate the air defense system?
Simple. Because you remember when Payne Stewart died, the golfer?
Yes.
He took off from Florida in a private jet, not even a public one, a private jet. They lost contact with him. Within 20 minutes, they had a fighter jet up on the wing. The fighter pilot looked inside, saw them all slumped over, couldn't raise them, and said, I believe they're all dead, stayed with them till they went up into Dakota or whatever. Had they going to hit Omaha, he'd have blasted them out of the air, but they didn't. They went down in a field. Here's the failure. You had 4 commercial airliners all hijacked an hour apart, and not one of our jets ever made it up into the air. Not one jet got up there. That is a massive failure, and you can try to out-yell me and do all that you want. There is your failure.
It's not out-yelling you, but you ask a question. You throw a question out, and I try to answer or at least speculate, and then you go, oh, okay, time, and you just barrel over it. It's like, that's not right. We can all just ask questions that don't have an answer to them. I don't know why nobody was fired, but because I don't know who was fired or why they weren't fired, that does not mean that the government set up 9/11 and I didn't see what I thought I saw.
Jim, the reason why they weren't fired. I know why they weren't fired. I know why they weren't fired. They weren't. I actually talked to an American airline pilot 2 days after it happened, and it was protocol. They had to negotiate with terrorists. Anybody who's going to take over the plane, they had to go out and talk to them and try to negotiate to get the plane down and to keep everybody safe. That's what they were supposed to do. They weren't. Now it's lock the door. Nobody gets in. We drop the plane.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about our air defense.
Our air defense, right. Why weren't
up there? Where were they? They totally and 70 people lost their jobs or were demoted over this little spectacle in North Dakota. This one, nobody lost their job. Why? Well, if you start firing people, then there's going to be investigations, aren't there? But if you don't fire anybody, business as usual, everything moves right along.
So you think that the supervisors knew that commercial airliners were by our government, were being flown into buildings through this whole thing, or just...
But they knew they were hijacked. I've been there.
So why didn't...
I've been there, and I've watched air controllers. Every plane in America has people watching it at every second. These planes went out and made U-turns over Ohio and all that and started heading back this way. Where was the bells? Well, all they got to do is say, we got a plane that's way off course.
First of all, there was no thing, we're hijacking this plane.
Well, wait a minute. No one could believe it because we were all doing war ops up in Alaska at that time.
The air traffic controllers couldn't believe the flight pattern. They didn't know exactly what was happening. No one said, this is a hijacked plane. This is what we want. So all they did was they lost communication with pilots. They saw them flying erratically, and then all of a sudden one hits the building, and then X amount of minutes later, the other one hits the building.
An hour later.
Okay, whatever. But what does that mean? An hour later? So what does that mean? What do you think happened?
That means that somebody had people standing down.
That's JFK, Oliver Stone terminology. But I'm saying to stand down. So the government called the military.
Have you been in the military?
No. But I'm
asking you. Have you been in the military?
And I'm telling you no.
Okay, then you don't know.
But I know stand down is a real term. But I'm saying that was from the movie JFK. Someone said stand down. So do you really think someone called and said stand down? You can't keep a secret between 10 people, but all of a sudden, this massive thing that killed 4,000 citizens, everyone's willing to keep quiet about.
No. I'll counter that with you by saying, what was Adolf Hitler's greatest quote? The bigger the lie, the easier the sell.
That's great, but that is not relevant to this.
Oh, it isn't.
No, it's not.
So if this isn't a lie.
You couldn't keep tailhook. What was the one with the sexual scale? Nothing is kept quiet. Adolf Hitler didn't have the internet working against him. Adolf Hitler didn't have digital cameras. You couldn't keep Abu Ghraib quiet. Abu Ghraib brought down the whole thing because a digital camera was sent over the internet. Times are different. Information is transferred differently than it was back then with Hitler. That's not an accurate.
It would be very difficult to keep something this magnitude quiet. There's so many people that would have to be involved. What about on the local level? What about the Air National Guard at the local level? That it doesn't go all the way up to the top.
Yes,
the conspirators.
No, yes,
that
it
do
does.
that, and they say don't follow these planes or don't even Don't even take off.
Okay, let's say you guys are correct and it's all real. Still, somebody should have been fired.
Okay, I'm not going to argue that. Maybe you're right.
If what you're telling me is all real, someone should have still lost their job.
Do you think...
Because our multi-billion-dollar air defense system failed miserably.
Do you think it's reasonable to assume people weren't fired because the focus, and I'm not saying this is right either, but this is a little more acceptable to me, that the focus wasn't to be put on people that effed up here in this country, but the focus was to be put on the Islamic militant fanatics that did this to us. Yeah. Instead, why sit around and start firing and blaming people for our lack of security when the focal point is the hatred that these people had for us?
And you know what? I remember back, and how old are you?
44.
Okay, you're a little light, but I remember back when I was
trying to get laid by younger women here.
When I was a young teenager, and they told me Lyndon Johnson got on television and said our boys are floating in the water. I remember when they told us about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, where they told us that North Vietnam had fired upon 2 of our ships, and that was the declaration of war that got us into the Vietnam War. Now, a couple years ago, I was teaching at Harvard, and McNamara, who was, I believe, Secretary of State or one of them at that time, he's now going around with the new film, The Fog of War, and he's admitted the Gulf of Tonkin incident never happened. Now, 58,000 of my generation were killed in Vietnam over an incident that was made up. It never happened. Now, do you think that, do you now understand why maybe I don't trust my government?
Yes. No one is saying that the government should be trusted blindly, and no one is saying that they're not garbage on almost every level. I'm talking about this, and it's not some blind trust. But you're a common sense guy, right? You're a common sense guy.
Yeah.
And yet, common sense, if they were going to do this, I mean, why not consider it? Why would you go through all of the possible things that could go wrong? If you can get people out of their offices and do all this and plant these, why wouldn't you just go through the basement and do it properly and kill a tremendous amount more people? And then it's just a little bit easier. Why go through all of the nonsense and the voice mechanisms that cover people calling their relatives and all of the possible ways for a snafu to occur, as opposed to 2 massively loaded, properly wired trucks in each basement? You take one building down, you take the other building down, they fall completely into New York City, you kill a lot more people, and there's no planes to deal with. There's no air defense to deal with. I mean, as a common sense guy, and if you're that, by the way, if the government is that effective at doing all this stuff, how could they not? They left Colin Powell swinging in the wind, looking like a moron, saying there's uranium. I mean, how would they allow such an obvious one to go on?
I don't know. All I can say is that, and I have no background that you guys have, certainly, as a Navy SEAL.
No, that's not that's not a valid thing.
Wait a minute.
No,
he is a SEAL.
I'm not saying that.
Let me finish. Do you remember Iran-Contra?
No, I was too busy just being a dummy who ran around not knowing anything about the military. What is that? Was that a good thing? Did our government do good?
That actually
no.
Iran-Contra. Is that a guy's name? Is he a movie star?
Well, hey, you're a comedy too. But
yes, that's what I do.
If you'll let me finish.
But I know you're a Navy SEAL.
I'm answering your question.
But you're not. You're saying I'm not a Navy SEAL. What's that got to do with it? You're pointing out that I'm not Navy SEAL. I know that.
I'm not talking to you. You know Iran-Contra?
Yes.
All right.
No, he doesn't.
You're telling me that everybody knows, right? Well, I had a good friend of mine that I served with in the SEAL team who came back as an officer. He ended up on SEAL Team 6 with Dick Marcinko, the anti-terrorist SEAL unit, right? Mm-hmm. He was sitting at home watching television when Iran-Contra broke, and he perked up and said, wow, I was part of that. See, everything is compartmentalized in the government. A doesn't know what B's always doing because you're given an order, and you're given an order, okay, you're going to take this from point A to point B. That's all you know.
You know what?
You don't know the big picture.
Okay.
You're just operational, at operational level, doing things that you're made to do. And
I understand.
I'm just saying that this gentleman was a member of SEAL Team 6. It was part of Iran. He had no idea he was part of Arms for Hostages. He was given a job to deliver something from point A to point B, and then when it broke, he then went, wow, I was part of that. Would he then admit to that? No, he wouldn't.
Let me tell you the difference.
Regular people, because it was an illegal activity,
right.
And if he admitted to that, he possibly could have faced charges.
Let me tell you the big difference, though. And your
I'm sure you will.
Your military experience does come into play when you're talking about things like the Gulf of Tonkin. Yes, and Iran-Contra. Absolutely. I'll agree with that. But those two incidents also were completely military. Completely military, which, if you ask me, it's a lot easier to deal with and keep quiet than airliners that are full of civilians. You got to bring in terrorists.
Who would
you have
admit
to have
to it? It's mass murder. Someone's going to admit to being
somebody
part
would
of
talk
mass
about
murder.
it.
It's when you start involving massive amounts of civilians
You guys are
and
right.
commercial aircraft.
You've won me over.
We weren't trying to win you over.
You've won me over.
But you won't address
Here I've admitted-
you ran right over the possible as a common sense guy, and you are a common sense dude.
No, I'm not.
You
I'm
won't-
a radical.
You won't look at why they wouldn't go through the basement. That's a valid question. You're asking a lot of questions, and I'm asking a common sense question.
I can't answer why they
doesn't
wouldn't
that,
go
as
through
a
the
smart
basement.
guy, make any sense?
Sure.
Why wouldn't they?
It's other options.
But it's an option that was very hard to
And you're
do.
now telling me that they should have done it this way, even though they were successful the way they did do it?
I don't, because I
then
don't think
why
they
would
did.
they have to do it your way
Because I don't
when
think
they were already successful?
Come on, now that's
my
cheating.
way?
I don't think they were successful because I don't believe it happened. So I'm playing the same game. I'm being speculative.
It did happen.
Why can't
Not
you
with the
believe it
government
was
doing
just terrorists?
I can.
Oh, you
But
can.
But I believe we were complacent.
Yeah, okay.
Complacent.
Fair
I
enough.
believe we were ignorant. I believe we were complacent. I believe we were careless. I believe we thought we were untouchable.
It could be beyond that.
I don't believe.
You don't believe that, like the Gulf of Tonkin incident, that we would orchestrate? You don't believe the Ruckstag fire back in Germany, where the Nazis blamed the communists to get the country in an uproar to go to war?
What was
and then later they found out that it was the Nazis who did it.
What's
not
the end game?
communists?
What's the end game of the government thing? What did we want?
The end game is controlling the oil in the Middle East.
So we wanted to go into the Middle East. Don't you think it would have been a lot simpler to come up with some weapons of mass destruction? And how about we put a few of them thousands of miles away from the media and everything else and say, look what we found. Here's our reason to go in. We had him under sanctions for years. We were still flying over his country and not allowing planes to fly there. We could have done anything we wanted and said he did anything we said he did to get our people into Iraq. Yet this huge scheme has to come out.
Yeah, you're right.
Where
Yeah,
we
you needed-
kill civilians.
Anthony, you needed everybody. Anthony, you needed the whole country behind them.
You're
Democrats,
right.
Republicans.
The country we loved beating up Iraq. Who didn't love Gulf War 1?
No,
it was like The Godfather. I wanted part 2.
No, after
I
September 11th,
You didn't
Anthony,
like
you're
the
wrong.
first
You're
one.
wrong,
No.
Anthony.
Where they invaded Kuwait. I'm not saying on a political level.
Wait, which Kuwait used to be part of Iraq and it was cut out and made it into its own country.
So you believe Saddam was entitled to annex Kuwait?
You know, I got plenty of weird things.
Not that I care. Again, I could care less.
Well, I also, believe the Pilgrims didn't have visas. and now we require them.
Okay, fair enough.
Wait, are you for open borders?
Yeah.
Wow, you are crazy. Jesus Christ.
Well,
Jesse, the hell can... That's from living down in Baja.
Well, okay, no. I don't prefer living in East Berlin. Clearly, you guys like East Berlin.
Yeah, because in East Berlin you can come and go as you please. It's the same thing as being here.
And
because
put a
we
big
want our borders
fence
kind
around
of
our
closed.
country,
Yeah,
and we're
same
the
thing.
epitome of freedom, and yet our country is the most difficult country to travel in now.
After September 11th, yes.
We're supposed to be the country of freedom.
And we were, and 19 guys came in because, and this is the problem with the communication, and you're right.
And they
the
came
FBI
in from
and the
where?
CIA,
They came
probably
in
through
via Canada,
Yeah.
so we're putting a fence on Mexico. Hey,
You know
that
something?
seems
No,
logical.
Well, with a lot of terrorists start
I'll
coming
agree
up
with
in
you there.
That seems logical
I'll
as
agree with
hell.
you there.
Let's build a fence at Mexico, even though they came in from Canada. Well, that'll stop them next time.
Well, I don't
we'll
think
build a
that,
fence at Mexico.
Yeah, look. All right. A good point. Good point. That's a dumb thing.
It is
But
hypocritical.
That doesn't explain, and you're right about so many things about the government being dirty, but all of that doesn't explain how this
You're right.
government...
You've convinced me. It's everything that the government told me. No, I'm agreeing with you. It's everything they've told us. I shouldn't even ask a question.
But no one's saying. Why do you
because
say
after
no
all,
one's saying you ask a question? No
I'm
one is
agreeing
saying
with
it.
you. Why are you fighting with me?
No,
I
you're not.
sensed a little sarcasm.
You've convinced me.
All right, good. I
You've
like that.
convinced
We're
me.
good at sarcasm.
That my government
very
would
good at
never lie to
sarcasm.
me.
See?
My government
Oh,
is,
now
is,
you're being silly,
no,
Jess.
I'm
yes,
not.
Jess, you're being a goose.
My country, right or wrong?
Absolutely, it
You know
certainly
what?
is.
You know
and they
what?
did
Wait
the
a
voice
minute.
tracking. No,
Wait a minute.
No,
You know
wait a
what
minute.
you guys need to listen
but I
to?
waited.
Okay. Who said the quote, dissension is the greatest form of patriotism?
Bush in the planning room when he was going, and you do the voice tracking that makes their own families think it's them.
Yeah, I'm not stupid.
No, me too, because I think the government's always right. They never
I'll
lie.
ask you a legitimate question.
I've been asking it to you, too, and you keep telling me I'm not a Navy SEAL. I don't know, obviously, or I would tell you. I would love to be able to just shut you down with a brilliant answer, but I don't know. Who said that quote? I don't know.
Jesse Ventura.
Doesn't matter. You're fine.
Well, I don't know who said the quote. I'm admitting it. You convinced me. I don't know who said the quote.
Jesse, why are you getting so frustrated?
I'm not. I don't get frustrated. You'll learn something about us that in my unit. We don't get mad. We get even.
Jesus Christ, we're all getting our throats slit tonight.
And always remember, you have to sleep sometimes.
Oh, Jesus.
Especially you.
You can't slice Jimmy's neck. You don't know where it is. You'll hit his chin.
Good luck finding my chin. Well, you've asked questions and I've asked questions. I mean, it's like, why is it that when you're asking questions that are speculative and I ask a question, you get angry? Why are you getting angry?
Why are you moving the microphone?
I'm not angry. I'm listening.
Well,
no, you just moved the microphone.
Because I have nothing to say. I'm listening.
He's convinced. We finally flipped him. We got him.
I don't think I've convinced you, but I do think there are some valid points that you're thinking of. I'm sure you're not convinced.
No, you've convinced me.
But no one is saying the government's always honest. No one
yes,
is
they
saying
are.
That.
No.
My country, right or wrong?
No, not black or white here. We're not talking.
No
There's a gray area, but I think you're way over to one side of this gray area now, and we're on the other side. I think we can agree that our government has been dishonest in the past. Absolutely. It's been proven. But to use that as some kind of cornerstone to this conspiracy theory on 9/11 doesn't make sense. It's
like back when I grew up in the 60s, the only type of assassinations were all lone nuts. There was never, ever another person involved in any of the assassinations of the 60s. You had a lone nut kill JFK. You had a lone nut kill Martin Luther King. You had a lone nut kill Robert F. Kennedy.
And Malcolm X.
Yeah, another lone nut.
Well, couple
lone nuts. No, that was a conspiracy because there was more than one. The others were simply single, all of them single.
What about the lone nut that tried to kill Gerald Ford, Squeaky Fromm? What about the lone nut that tried to kill Reagan?
Wait. There were two. Sandra Good was with her, so that was more than one.
She had the gun.
That was more than one.
All right, Hinckley.
What about Hinckley?
Yeah,
there's
never been what about Caesar?
You're going back a little bit.
What did Castro say to you about JFK? Caesar? What did Castro say to you about
Castro told me that it was an inside job. He said that Oswald could not make the shots. He said that the Russians did not want Kennedy dead at that time because he was very close to them. And in fact, their quote to him about Kennedy was, "You can talk to this man." Mm-hmm. He said he didn't do it because he said, "Do I look suicidal?" He said, "I love my country very much, and if I would have did it, my country would have been wiped off the face of the earth." He also told me that at the time that it happened, that Kennedy had sent a writer from Paris named Jean Daniel to meet with Castro, and Daniel was setting up a secret meeting between the two of them, and Castro felt very strong that Kennedy may change the policy of the United States towards Cuba. And but this is naturally only Fidel's version of it. And had Kennedy done that, I'm sure there would have been a lot of angry people in this country who still believe that we should have this policy. I find it very interesting that we will trade unlimited with China, who is communist.
I agree with this wholeheartedly.
And yet Cuba, we don't, but I know the answer.
What?
Well, the answer is truly very simple. When Castro came in, he threw out all of our corporations. China's welcoming our corporations. So there's your example. If you welcome corporate America will wheel and deal with you all you want. But if you don't welcome corporate America, then you get, boycotted.
Yeah, I think China's human rights record is abysmal. It's just, and why we have any kind of relationship with them is beyond me. I think the Cuban problem also is the fact that they're just holding a grudge against Fidel. I think there's an actual grudge that, this guy was the last communist holdout.
I can't believe our country would do that.
I could.
Our country.
Absolutely not.
Us.
I could.
We would never hold a grudge.
No, sir. We're perfect. We don't ever tell lies. Apple pie and baseball, ladies and germs, because that's what I believe.
That's right.
That's what I believe. It's all juggling and smiles, and Mom pecks you on the cheek. I don't think they ever did nothing wrong. No, sorry, Bob.
I agree with you.
They're terrific.
We have to take a break.
George Bush won fair and square.
I think we have to agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah, we might have to.
No, you've convinced me. I won't ask
we don't think we know sarcasm, sir.
I won't ask another question about it. I got it straight right here.
Neither will I.
I'm fine.
That's right. If you're going to ask the question, though, just remember basement. Why not the basement? That's a good question to ask. And why not?
I guess you're an experienced guy that would know that.
Not just common sense. Like you said, you use common sense. And I ain't no Navy SEAL, but I have common sense, too. And it does tell that if you're going to go through 500 steps...
I can look at you and know you're
I'm
not
a
Navy
small,
SEAL.
wimpy guy. Small, wimpy guy. But you know what we're good for? Using our heads. You know, while I was sitting around just being an overfed little fat boy, I used my head. And I thought common sense things all day.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of looks like a seal. If you look at him,
It looks like a seal.
If you throw a ball, he'll actually bounce it on his nose.
All right, listen. The book is
Bobby piling on.
What are you gonna do? I don't want to get beat up.
The book is Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. It leads off following your life as the governor of Minnesota and his decisions to leave politics after his first term, right?
Not really. The book is about.
All right. Well,
summarize.
I mean, you're somewhat right.
I finally talked the first time in 20 minutes.
But the actual book is
one thing is wrong.
I take you on a trip with me from Minneapolis down to the Baja.
There you go. Okay.
And then along the way, of course, I
do we have to talk?
Things and whatever, you know. But it just leads me into many political things that I think about on a daily basis that about our country and all that stuff. And and you really need to understand too, guys, that I'm not very patriotic. My mother was a World War II vet. My father was a World War II vet, and my brother and I are Vietnam vets, but we're not a patriot.
I think blind patriotism is one of the most dangerous things ever. Absolutely. And I don't agree or believe everything the government throws out at us. But there are certain things that I think can be looked at with common sense and using your own head. And that's where I stand on the whole thing. Jesse, you're a very interesting guy. Love having you on the show. I love when Jimmy gets so impassioned because
we don't agree on something.
This will bug the crap out of him for weeks, and anything that bothers Jimmy, we love.
He's won me over, man. See?
Right.
With his common sense and his knowledge of everything. And,
you won me over too. I mean, look, something happened in 1960, and that's exactly the same thing that happened in 2001. I mean, I can agree with that.
Well, remember, history repeats itself quite often.
Absolutely.
If you ever tried reading.
No, I don't read at all. I don't read.
Then you'd know.
I watch TV, and they tell me what's going on, and I go, well, that's that.
There you go.
That's what I do.
There you go.
My God.
I don't write neither. I got a crayon.
Can I ask you something?
Sure can.
How many books did you read last winter?
Not many. I was writing one.
Great. Well, I wrote one and read 16.
But it was about me on that time. Good for you. That was about me. Plus, I do 5 hours of radio a day. No time to read. Ball's in your court. You read 16? All right. Well, what kind of books were they? Plus, I don't believe everything I read. So apparently, you believe everything you read. I don't. I watch and make my own
I'm glad
decisions.
you think for me, too.
I do. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm not a Navy SEAL. I can't fight for you, so I might as well think for you. Because that's what short little nobodies do. We just sit around and think all day.
I want to see him do that thing where he grabs Jimmy's head and just goes twists it.
I'd prefer not to see that.
Anthony, can you not say that? Hey, Jesse, I just want to let you know.
By the way, I was also a bestseller. I'm sure not as high on the list as you were, but I was also a nonfiction bestseller. So that's what I was doing last winter to kind of counteract your implication that I'm an ass who doesn't read. I was doing that.
Yeah.
You're writing your
He's an
second
ass
book
that
now.
does read.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I did mine and read 16.
All right. Well, you did more. So point Jesse. But you asked me how many I read.
But then again, I live where I don't have a TV, so that helped too.
Oh, okay. Well, if you did, then maybe we'd have a different argument. Like maybe you'd watch some of the footage over and over and go, "Oh yeah, that's kind of what happened."
Well, I wrote a blog
Not
on
having
my
a TV doesn't
MySpace.
make you smarter, though. You miss a lot of good shows. The Wire. I recommend it highly.
Amazing. All right, we got to go. We got to take a break here.
Jesse, thanks, man. You are.
I mean, I'm done. You guys told me I'd have the whole hour.
I say you stay.
Well, yeah. Well, we're running out of show,
Let's go to other topics. You know, you guys got me off on that one. And
join us.
All right, good.
There's plenty other topics.
We've run out of show over here, but you can join us over at XM. No problem. Then we'll really.
I got other commitments.
And then we'll curse it. So. We'll start cursing over there.
Quickly plug real quick the book signings he has. Yep. Jesse has 2 book signings. He has one. Today's the 8th. The 10th is 6:30 p.m. It's at Bookends. It's a great bookstore in Ridgewood, New Jersey. You can fit a lot of people in there. And then April 11th, the next night, is very accessible from New York. Barnes & Noble on Route 3 East in Clifton. It's at 7:30 p.m., so you got time to go there after work. So you got 2 shots over the next few days to go and get your book signed. And it's called Don't Start the Revolution Without Me. Jesse's obviously a radical thinker and obviously a good writer.
It's kind of weird that you would plug him because he doesn't like you right now.
I don't care. Get into a nice heated dispute.
I like him.
You can respect each other and have a heated dispute. I like it.
He's convinced me.
All right.
There is a little bit of truth in that. He doesn't want to admit it, but there's a little bit of truth. I raised questions he didn't like, and that's the problem.
And I did too, that you didn't like.
No, you didn't.
Are you guys?
None. Not a 1.
We got to take a break.
Scary.
Call Opie and Anthony, 866-WOW-WOW-WOW, 866-WOW-WOW-WOW.
Shock Jocks, Opie and Anthony.
Shock Jocks.
Opie and Anthony.
Shock Jocks, Opie and Anthony.
Shock Jocks. Opie and Anthony.
In case you're wondering, it continued during the break. We're back with the Opie and Anthony show. Pretty much just to say goodbye because we're really, really late. I want to thank Robert Kelly for stopping in. His Just a Tip CD/DVD is out in stores right now, and you can get it through Amazon.com as well. Yes, Jimmy?
I will be in Detroit this Saturday.
Oh, I thought he was going to...
What?
I thought you were going to plug my CD for me.
Yeah, I'll be selling it. Clutch Cargo's in Detroit this Saturday night, and then Caroline's the 17th through the 20th here in New York. You'll convince me to buy that CD. I would say the 17th through the 20th. Caroline.
Gee, you plug Mike Bibiglia's dumb DVD. You won't even give me one of your best friends a shot.
Just get what I did.
Oh, what'd you do? I'm sorry.
I got it, Jimmy. Why
am I dealing
just
with
talk to
dumbass?
Scott Martin.
I apologize, Ope. I should have just looked at you.
Yeah, Scott Martin writes, okay, Jimmy stood toe-to-toe with Chris Jericho and now Jesse Ventura. Sam should give him his championship belt. Sam didn't exactly earn it. Just amazing radio, Jimmy. Absolutely amazing.
No.
Jesse's now talking to Anthony, and I think he's turning Anthony a little bit. Anthony's he turning you a little bit?
Sure is.
I'm done. I'm turned.
No, he's done. He's convinced. Good night, Jesse.
I'm turned. Yeah.
Okay. He got me. I said good night. He was right. It was morning. He would love to bash my fat little face in that. Alpha males hate me.
I wouldn't waste my time.
I know you wouldn't.
Jesus.
Not that it would be a big time consumer. One good slap would do. Alpha males don't like it because they're used to over-talking everybody.
Huh?
This way.
Oh,
Thanks, guys.
All right, Jesse.
Bye, Jess.
Go ahead either way.
Go officially on the air now and say you've convinced me completely.
You said it. That's all I
right.
need to hear.
Yeah.
I convinced you.
That's cool.
Attaboy. I like that.
We
Hannity and
convinced him.
Combs tonight, right? Give you a little plug for that.
Yes.
Yeah,
really?
we're friends with Sean Hannity. So Hannity and Combs.
I can figure you probably were.
Yes.
Whoa!
We believe everything he says, too, pal.
Actually, I don't really agree with his politics. I just like the guy.
I agree with his politics, too.
Yeah. He does, though.
He changed me.
He really,
Take it easy.
he
Thanks,
really
man.
is going to squeeze Jimmy like a stress doll.
Big deal.
Look at Jim. Big deal.
I'm not going to trash the guy because he's not here. I will say this. Like, I have tremendous respect for his military. And I believe a lot of what he said. It's almost like, don't use the fact that you're a Navy SEAL and I'm not, because to say with a basement argument. Like, no one is questioning that. No one is I mean, I'm so pro-military. My father's military. I'm so pro-military, it's embarrassing.
Right.
So it's like, you don't need to use that as a weapon against me. I'm not claiming that knowledge.
There was a moment there where he really wanted to choke you out.
Big deal. You know
I'm
what?
just saying.
No, you're right. You're right.
There's observations
And
here. And Jimmy, I was actually giving you a compliment. That didn't scare you.
No,
in the least, which I thought was really cool. Because he gave you the look of death.
That annoyed me.
When he said that you guys got to sleep eventually, we all went, oh.
Yeah, big deal. Alpha, look, he's a big guy, and I don't pick stuff with big guys. But for real, I don't start stuff with big guys to do it. I don't want to get my teeth kicked in.
No, he's coming back.
But
He's coming.
Let him come back.
No, I'm joking.
The bottom line is, in something like that, it's like, come on, man. If you want to debate, we're going to be intellectual. I'm not going to ever be back.
Look, you're right. It wasn't going to get physical at all. You guys are just going back and forth.
I'm not fighting the guy.
I mean, his technique of argument, guys do get like that. Like, they try to intimidate you with their bigness. But
impossible. However, if we were in a bar and he hit on my girlfriend, I would take her panties off for him. I'm not an idiot.
You know what the thing is? Also, you almost forget he was in the WWF.
Yeah.
He's a wrestler, and he kind of still has that character of a wrestler, which is, hey, you convinced me. Good,
Yeah.
Go, and then that give and take kind of back and forth thing.
Well, they used to actually. I mean, that guy like that. If you disagreed, had an argument, you would smack the guy on the head and, and go at it. That's
hit you with a chair.
Yeah, that's kind of what they did, And Jimmy would actually just, go down.
I'm not saying he isn't passionate and believes in what he believes, which but to me, that's fine.
Right.
That's fine. Believe what you want to believe and stuff, but don't put us on some far out ledge that we believe everything.
Exactly.
It's like just like he has questions and probably doesn't believe everything with this whole conspiracy thing. I'm not saying the government is completely honest with everything either, including 9/11, but we just disagree wholeheartedly on the methods used to get us into the Middle East.
And also that argument, instead of going, okay, this is what bugged me. Instead of going on a valid point, that's a valid point, maybe I could consider that. It became, you've convinced me. It's like, you think I've never argued and I don't know arguing tech? Stop it.
You argue a lot.
I'm not going to badmouth the guy.
I got to say, Jimmy did stick up to him, but every time he did give a line, he gave it to Anthony instead of looking him directly in the eye.
To Jesse?
Yeah,
that's not true
at all.
Jesse looked Jimmy right in the eye a few times.
I was just kidding.
I was
just kidding.
I want to apologize to the fine people that listen to us and watch us on Pal Talk because it crashed during that. So,
well, there's a lot of people wanting to check it out. Probably,
yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
However, I would suggest the book. It's obviously he's a controversial dude, and he's a best-selling author. You can't, and he served this country certainly a brave man in Vietnam. I have nothing bad to say about him as a guy.
And an entertaining wrestler.
Yes. Apparently a good governor.
He needs new jeans, though.
Yes, he does.
And you notice that, too?
Don't start the revolution without me. It's on sale now in bookstores.
He had very old, faded jeans on. You can't trust a guy that has very old, faded jeans on.
When you see those jeans coming towards the bridge of your nose with a leg drop.
And
it got pretty exciting in here today.
Yes, Bob?
I'm going to be in Houston Improv this weekend, and today my CD comes out in stores.
Yes.
Yeah, we really are pushing Bobby's CD big time. Robert Kelly, Just the Tip. Make sure you go and buy that. You want a lot of people to buy it today.
I want them to go buy it because, I want, they think I'm going to sell 200 copies. I'd love to really stick it to Comedy Central.
Also comes with a DVD. And look, as much as we tease Bob, he's a good comic, and it's a great package, dude. The cover's cool, all the stuff inside of it. We'll just go out and just get it, man. Help Bobby out because it's worth it.
All right, I want to apologize to the affiliates, but when you got radio like that, you can't stop it in the middle because then you're going to lose all the steam of it was so intense. The tension. You're going to lose the argument. It all just goes away if you break in the middle of that. So
I'll tell you one thing.
So we really messed up all the affiliates because they have to do another commercial break. So I apologize for that. I hope it was worth it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're off to XM. Bye. I want to start the show by saying this. Actually, yes. Doug B., I agree with you. He's writing us some feedback from work. I do believe that Rick Delgado was right and that Jimmy Norton does wreck the Opie and Anthony show.
Wow. Now that's saying something.
Jimmy, you were amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
I'm kind of depressed because I like Jesse Ventura. I still like Jesse Ventura. But I'm just amazed that a guy that is as bright as he is just believes what he believes. I'm just amazed, actually, because when we were preparing for the Jesse Ventura interview, it started being thrown around that the guy believes that we, meaning our government, took down the buildings on 9/11. And we're like, nah, it's got to be like a typo. We're not reading this right. And then we did more research, obviously, and we're like, no, he really believes, the Loose Change documentary and all that other stuff out there. Yeah. I don't trust the government. I don't believe the government tells us everything, tells the truth.
Of course not.
On anywhere near the everything.
But he claims to be asking questions. I'm just asking some questions, but it's like, no, you're not.
He doesn't want answers.
Vehemently agenda-driven and defending. And a lot of those Vietnam vets don't trust the government, with good reason. But that doesn't mean just because the government is scumbags that they did this.
And military operations that he brought up in the past, that the government was involved in deception, that's a lot easier to pull off than so many civilians being involved in 9/11. So many how many people witnessed the Gulf of Tonkin, the ship being sunk. How many people actually witnessed that? How many people witnessed Iran-Contra? Civilians. This was a crime that was witnessed by millions upon millions of people. It's unprecedented.
And Jimmy brought up a good point too. With today's technology, everybody has a camera phone, everybody has a video camera. You can't get away with anything without somebody actually getting it on video.
Like this big conspiracy is going to be able to be pulled off with all the outlets we have today to share information, pictures, audio. It just doesn't happen like that.
And in 6.5 years, you would think someone would have come out of the woodwork and said, all right, look, I got to finally talk about
one of the
what I know.
passengers would come out and say, look, they had us hidden. Jesus Christ, I'm getting tired of KFC. That's all they bring us.
Aruba stinks.
I'm bored. Who would think you'd get bored of Aruba?
Was he saying, this wasn't on the air, that he doesn't even believe that Osama bin Laden is real or something?
No,
he's like, how do you hide 6 foot?
He was implying he may work for the CIA. Because he did work for the CIA. When the Soviets were in Afghanistan, we had to align ourselves with the resistance. Part of that resistance was Osama bin Laden and the guerrillas that were fighting the Soviets. Same thing with Iraq. We were pretty much aligned with Iraq when they were fighting Iran because we didn't like Iran more than we didn't like Iraq. So that's why we had to put up with fighting a lot of our own weaponry and Soviet weaponry when we went into Iraq. It happens. That's called world fucking politics. Things change.
We helped the Taliban fight the Russians.
The Russians.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Listen, more importantly, Jeff from PA has a question. Yes, Jeff.
Hey, Jimmy, were you able to get a picture with Jesse Ventura after the interview?
No, I did it before.
Yeah.
He would have taken one after I
He took one with me after, and he was annoyed with me. But he was really pissed with you.
You guys couldn't. I'm sorry, but you couldn't see, but he actually pushed the microphone away from himself at one point.
Yeah,
we mentioned that. I'm like, why did you push the? Yeah, something that has to be said. There are times we have guests that come in, and you get a weird vibe, or you get a weird vibe before they even come to the studio, just knowing that it might not go so well. And one of us will always go, you might want to get your picture before they come in.
Yeah, let's do that beforehand. Well, he even did it this time because we asked him to do some liners for us. Read a little, hey, you're listening to Opie and Anthony.
Yeah, that boring crap.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Look like we're bigger than we are.
Yeah. And he went after the show, after my interview.
Did he do it?
I don't know. Did he?
I don't know.
Anyone know?
I don't think he did.
Would know.
I don't think he did. I don't think
he did.
I don't think he did either.
Yeah. Let's say hi to Kurt in PA. Kurt.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
Hey, Kurt.
I already think you're a comic genius, but man, I have so much respect for you the way you handled this guy.
Oh, thank you.
This guy was a fucking governor. How did he handle himself in meetings? Did he take his ball home and go home
like
then?
that?
Yeah, it was Minnesota though. They're, what are you going to do? They're
and a true Navy SEAL, the way he blabs that shit out, most of these guys stay quiet. He just brings that shit up all the time.
Well, I wish I would have thought of this, because as a soldier, it's almost like you were a soldier. How many soldiers are going to be willing to turn on their own countrymen and just mass murder them? I'm not saying none would be. But the scale of that operation, are you telling me that there's that many dirty fucking soldiers? And stop it.
Right.
I know too many military guys.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Navy SEAL guy there about him, his real service with the SEALs.
Yeah. After that interview, we're walking over to XM, and I decided that I'm going to have a little intelligent conversation with E-Rock as we walk. And
Jesus Christ! What?
By the time we got to
was that a fucking dream?
Well, exactly. By the time I got to the building, I'm like, why did I even bother? Why did I even bother? I was trying to tell E-Rock because he's like a student of radio. I'm like,
did he see something shiny?
Right.
It distracted him.
I'm like, I got a couple yeahs, and I'm like, oh, you don't even get my point. Like, there are guys like Jesse Ventura that comes on to a show like ours, and he just assumes, because I really believe this show is way above radio. Way above other radio shows.
Yeah.
Well, when you get guests like Jesse Ventura, they don't study the radio business, so that he thinks he's coming in and he's going to just be
Slappy
able to
and Wappy show.
Yeah, he's going to go on a Slappy and Wappy show and get to slap the host around a little bit and overpower the conversation. It's going to be my way, the highway, and that's it. He didn't realize he was walking into a situation where 2 out of the 3 are well versed on 9/11 stuff. You know, he wasn't going to be able to shove his bullshit down our throats. And I was trying to make this point with E-Rock, and he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, but another thing, though, well, you guys weren't attacking him. You weren't attacking him. You weren't attacking him all.
No,
it was actually a conversation going back and forth. You were bringing up your point, and he just didn't want to hear it.
It was a battle of the brains, basically.
Yeah, but
we pride ourselves. We could yell and scream at someone like anyone, but
were you going to say nobody's business?
I'd rather make a valid.
I call myself you asshole. So fuck you.
I'd rather make valid points with somebody.
Easy, Opie. Why do you fucking turn so quick?
Also, I'll respect.
Take one hit and you just want to stab somebody in the fucking face.
That's a good point. Good point.
I'll respect people's opinions and ideologies and stuff, even if I think they're dopey personally. But I will let them bring it into the discussion and then try to, dispute it. That's what dialogue is. That's what a conversation is. An argument, whatever you want to call it.
When he wasn't getting his way, he got really mad.
Yeah.
He started using that sarcasm, and then
you've convinced me.
He actually took the microphone and threw it like this.
He kind of whipped it around.
Hey, by the way, I got to mention this because it came in a lot, and I just don't know. I don't have knowledge on this. I did watch Fog of War, and I want to watch it again. It was great. It was an amazing documentary if you want to check out something different. Judy Osborne and a bunch of people. Ventura was wrong about the Gulf of Tonkin. Our troops were committed to the Vietnam War before the Tonkin incident. JFK had committed our troops before he was shot. But other people are saying that wasn't admitted in the documentary Fog of War.
No,
you
have to watch that again.
Yeah, I don't have the knowledge, but a lot of people say that's bullshit. The point he made about Fog of War.
You know what? I give a lot more credibility to the fact that the government was involved in some kind of hijinks with that to get us deeper into Vietnam. I know we were involved already, but there was a lot of it was as advisors. It was a limited amount of troops, and I know Johnson really wanted to throw a shitload more people in there, but
but you know what?
He needed a catalyst.
The government, the government might have been involved. They might have known about and maybe let stuff slide, and it could have been like this could be perfect. Because I don't believe that they didn't know that we were going to be attacked somewhere, sometime by something.
I think they probably knew that there was some kind of terrorist event that was going to happen. But in hindsight, you could add everything up and say, yeah, this is great. Look at all the facts that are here. But the bottom line is, it was so unfucking real that something like that could possibly happen.
The FBI and the CIA, plus, they don't communicate.
Yeah.
They never communicate.
Yep.
One thing I want to say, too, I'm tired of guys doing this. Like Geraldo did it, and he did it. When you have a point of view, and
calling you a little worm,
yes, then fucking
Sorry,
my mouth
Jimmy.
in the green room.
Who said that?
No, Geraldo got mad at me too because I wasn't even coming at him. I just didn't agree with everything he was saying about immigration, and I'm tired of these fucking guys having these very strong opinions. And then when they're debated on, I didn't say "fuck you, Geraldo" or "fuck you, Jeff."
Right.
Like
Not
all of a sudden they
face.
feel victimized. And they stop it, motherfucker.
They might be getting mad,
and they try to just toss you aside, like,
Believe me, I know I'm a fucking.
Well, they might be getting mad because of the way you wear your headphones with your little ears sticking out. That might piss them off. You look like a half a retard. Can you put it on both ears?
Hold on. Let me get in here. Let me get in here for a second because it's worth mentioning. This is why we truly do love our listeners as much as we scream and yell at you a lot. Dave B. from Philly, he writes, way above radio? What's up Eastside Dave's ass? Baby shit mustache, tongue scrapings. Yeah, you guys are so above and beyond. He forgot. Well, we got to fill up all this airtime and something in between these intelligent political debates.
Yeah, but he's also forgetting, though. No, he's also forgetting. Aside from this debate, he's forgetting a duty hat.
Right.
Duty hat.
And fucking mousetrap. And
duty hat.
Jimmy
and hot ice on the balls.
Yeah, Jimmy putting pens up his ass because, black girls choose them. I guess we could come up with a bunch of them.
If I see a chewed pen cap, anyone that does that in the workplace, I take the pen and I put it into my ass crack and I put it back in circulation. Chew that one.
Oh, God.
Hey, the other thing that was very interesting, the Jesse Ventura thing started off, we were all on the same side to start the interview. And then I saw him actually kind of fold his leg and get comfortable and he goes, and this is not 11 thing. He was ready for all of us to just completely agree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, boy, you have no idea what you're getting
Wait till you
into.
see the facts I bring out on this one.
Yeah, he goes, it all started with my son, and he told me, Dad, you got to read this stuff on the internet. And he really thought the next words out of our mouth was, "Oh my God, I'm so with you."
Good point.
And that's when we said, "Whoa, slow down."
Good point.
But
point.
You guys debated this, a few times before. It's not like the first time you're having this conversation. You've talked in depth about this, and but you guys weren't saying you're wrong. You were actually agreeing with some of what he said.
I know. He is wrong, 100%. Whenever they bring up the point of the buildings coming down looking like a controlled demolition, why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't a building coming down like that look like a controlled demolition? And what's the problem with it looking like that? It doesn't mean it is one.
And he said that some of the floors were closed,
yeah.
But his theory means that every floor had to have some kind of controlled explosion, right?
And I have a question. Can someone who knows?
But he throws that whole point out the window by saying, "Look, it's a known fact. Some of the floors were closed for business."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big deal. It's 220 stories.
Yeah, you needed 220 floors closed.
Can I just say something? I'm so dumb that I actually believe a couple times his sarcasm when he was like, "I don't know anything." I was like, "Oh, he's admitting it."
Jesus.
Here's
Robert. Seriously,
it didn't happen.
seriously,
Bob didn't say that.
I was kidding.
He didn't just say it.
I have no idea.
Bob didn't just say that.
It's a comedy show. I was just trying to add.
Oh, thanks.
But can someone who knows math? There is a formula, and I just don't know it. Where when I heard that argument about the floors falling, there's something with the way the things propel as they're coming down, term of light, whatever it is. There's a mathematical formula for that, and I heard someone shut somebody down because you don't understand this formula, and I don't know what it is. Is there anybody out there that really knows what that is for real? Because it does exist.
Yeah, but if you ever saw a controlled detonation
Never.
in Vegas, they actually have to go in, smash certain walls down, take out support beams. You can't just go in, stick dynamite in the closet,
Is
and
it
then
a cartoon?
and blows up. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you know what? It takes weeks. What are they going to do? Everybody's not going to go to work. Dude, it's a bunch of bullshit. Fucking lying. It happens just like that. Dude, you ever watch a controlled demolition? Dude, it takes weeks. All the furniture comes out.
The furniture comes out. Hey, Voodoo Dick. Very good.
Why do I fucking love when he does that?
We're all doing it now.
You know, I pay attention to you.
Yeah, Voodoo Dick from Long Beach writes, did Opie say, I said this, but I was reading someone else's instant feedback. Voodoo Dick writes, did Opie say JFK committed the troops before he was shot compared to what? All his post-mortem projects? All right. Well, that was very interesting radio, to say the least.
Oh, God.
It was.
Oh, my God. Hannity's going to eat him up tonight on Hannity.
Yep.
Yeah, Hannity, he won't have enough time because he'll Hannity. Well, you
That's the
can't,
problem. That's why I think we got some great stuff out of him.
If
Because
you-
on a TV show, you got 7 minutes, maybe.
If you notice, too, Larry King is on the front of the book, his little quote about him. When you made your joke about Larry King, he really was like, he didn't get it.
Yeah, I know.
Because his buddy.
It's the quote on the front.
His buddy
from
is
Larry
just
King.
a big Jew head on shoulders.
Let's go to Minnesota. Bert, what's up, Bert?
What's up, man?
Hey, Bert, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, I just want to give Jimmy props on that. All that douche ever did when he was governor of Minnesota was give $2,000 back to about three-quarters of the citizens. Otherwise, he didn't even finish his term. He left early, I believe.
Thank you very much, man.
Well, he did say his wife was sick.
Yeah, his wife had health issues.
Man, I would have
like
liked $2,000.
Yeah.
Really?
Make
To
that
add
sound
it
like-
to your $32 million?
I don't have $32 million.
It's like 30 now.
Let's go
Oh, you convinced me. Well, good. Glad.
Rob from
Your little ear is fucking killing me.
Rob from Rhode
You see
Island.
his big fucking ears? Holy shit. How did they fucking not see him swimming for demolition? Those fucking elephant ears sticking out of the water.
no! Get Jesse back in here.
He's going to come out of
I'm
your
sure he
toilet
heard it.
and cut your balls off while
He
you're
just heard me
shitting.
say it. I have to sleep. Yeah, and I will if you keep talking. I wish I would have thought of that shit.
We might have your formula, Jim. Rob, Rhode Island.
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on? I got your formula for you.
Hi,
Terminal
Rob.
velocity?
Yes. About the building falling, I mean.
Yeah. It's 9.8 meters per second for every second that it falls. And then it goes up to 180 miles an hour about. So if you're at the top floor by the time it got down, you got to figure how tall were the buildings.
About 1,000 feet, say, in that area?
Yeah, 1,100 feet, not including the spire at the top.
Right, of course.
So by the time it got down to the bottom, it was hit 180 miles an hour.
Wait. How many stories was the building?
110 stories.
Oh, okay.
No, 220, right?
No, total. I was combining both buildings for floors being closed.
You scared me because I did some quick math. I'm like, wow, there were a lot of short people in the Twin Towers. They would have had to be under 5 feet. It was a building filled with midgets.
Let's say it was about 11.
Being John Malkovich.
right. A building.
A bunch of 4-foot floors in that.
It also didn't start falling from the top floor. It started falling from, first of all, 10 floors down, and then the weight, especially the first one, fucking fell from a tremendous height. I mean, the middle of the building, like the 60th floor.
Yeah.
Or 70th floor.
Yep.
79.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, like, from that, because you're going to have weight coming down on it. So, but that's the formula to figure it out. I don't think it would really matter weight-wise when it comes to something like that.
Hold on, sir. We have a maven. Go. Dude, listen.
You don't do a good Bob Kelly.
I don't do a good one. He does it way better. But if they actually would plan this, the government, just putting these people on the thing, I don't understand. Are they saying that the pilots were in on it too? Is that what they're saying? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. Is he saying that like the whole plane was in on this, smashing into the building?
Yeah. How does that work?
He'll probably say that nobody on the plane was in on it. Maybe he'll say that the plane didn't exist. Who knows what he'll say?
Yeah, because he was disputing the fact that the terrorists actually took the planes over with nothing but box cutters and stuff. So was the whole plane in on it? Was the pilots in on it?
Even if they weren't in on it, if they weren't in on it, they just said the government put terrorists on planes. And they were supposed to. You can't. The odds that maybe somebody does do something.
Yeah.
And
what if the plane Jimmy was saying. There's so many things that could have happened.
What if the plane doesn't hit it, but you have all these explosives ready to...
that was the one I forgot. I've made that argument before. What if something happens and that fucking plane doesn't even take off?
Yeah, right.
What if there's a mechanical problem?
Some kind of problem.
And the fucking building... You don't think they would have searched the building and make sure all... That's the point I forgot. I need to make
too many loose ends.
That's the one I didn't.
Too many fucking...
loose change.
Loose change.
Let's go to Mongo the trucker. Mongo.
Morning, guys.
Good evening.
Hello, Mongo.
I was a fireman for 9 years, and the whole thing about fire can't bring down a steel building is bullshit. A normal house fire, the ceiling can get up to 1,000 degrees in a normal residential structure. So if you add jet fuel to it, all steel has to do is get to about 1,800 degrees to lose its tensile strength. And then, especially if it has damage to it from the impact, you bring it down in a second.
They all seem to believe that metal has to be melting beams before the building will fall down. It doesn't have to just, kind of take away a little of the integrity of the beam by by softening it. And the building's coming down.
Yeah, but plus the way that building was constructed, it was like a stencil. Like it was a new design in buildings to get that up there.
Well, Anthony will tell you exactly what it's called.
What?
The building of the Twin Towers. What that?
A little exoskeleton
That's right.
It had on it with a center shaft that was made of steel, and then steel beams that went from the center shaft to the outside, to the exoskeleton. So that when all that cement starts falling, it's almost being funneled down through the metal exoskeleton, which you saw bending out like the banana peel, and at the end you saw them still sticking straight up. That guided the building straight down.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't tip over. That's why, it looked like a controlled explosion. Yeah, it did look like one.
Why did they find the black box and then Muhammad Atta's passport they did find? That's a great question.
That is a great question. Like, what did happen in the black box? Why would they find something like that? It's paper that could have flown out.
But maybe the government found the box, and they
that's something
took it away.
That's something I could definitely say. You know something? Maybe the government did lie on that one.
Maybe we found them,
because that's a government agency, the FAA. They could have found it, taken it away, and we'll never fucking know what was on there or why. Maybe for national security reasons. Who the fuck knows?
Why did the Pentagon pictures not get released? Why do they hold back on those? I also have questions about the government's behavior in this.
But I don't believe those questions' answers are that they were in on it.
Right. and they definitely Bush took advantage of the situation for his own cause, of course.
For his own dickdom.
Yeah, of course he did.
Dude. All right.
Exactly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't even the thing is,
that's the type of thing you'd say alone.
What?
That's exactly what you say when you're alone.
What was it?
Dad, Bush does that for his own cause.
No, that's what you say in a conversation. It's in the conversation.
Nah, but you would use words like, oh,
Jimmy, do you think I just talk alone all the time?
Jesus. Because you're not exactly sure of
Jimmy,
what terms.
I'm not going to let you make me into a fucking dummy.
I didn't. God did.
I do talk, asshole.
Nothing.
God did. No. All right. I think you said got something, but the God did.
That was
got
very
an
good.
11.
That was
That's a
really
great
good.
joke.
I'm sorry, I kind of
Come
stepped
on.
on that.
All right, let's go to Dave in Jersey. Dave, what's up?
Hey, good morning, boys.
Hey.
Hey, I wonder if Jesse Ventura has the same thoughts about landing on the moon. Was that a big government conspiracy as well?
That would have been nice to ask him. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Could have done another. Yeah, he's coming back.
No, we didn't land on the moon.
Exactly.
Really?
No. You know, book signing having shitty publisher motherfucker.
Wow,
Jimmy.
Oh, man.
I'm always joking.
Oh, my God, I love it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, keep saying it.
I'm joking.
I know, keep saying it. Oh, jeez.
Let's go to Mike in Ohio. Mike.
Yeah. Good morning, boys.
And a lot of people checking in saying black boxes are not indestructible.
They're not indestructible, no.
I mean, they hold up pretty good in most cases, but
they're not built to crash into fucking buildings and stay on fire for hours.
Let's go to Mike in Ohio.
I build them.
Mike.
Good morning, boys.
Hey, Mike.
Jimmy, I just got to tell you, you made me proud this morning. Standing toe-to-toe with him and saying how you feel and you didn't back down.
Thank you.
I just got to tell you, I respect you a lot more.
Thank you.
To help the visual, too, Jimmy was a mere 7 feet away from him with nothing in between them.
7 feet?
I've seen Jimmy not get that tough when the guy's on the other end of a phone, let alone in the studio.
There were a couple intense looks by Jesse.
Yeah, he got very angry at one point. But he knows I'm not challenging him physically. Like there's so no justification for him to take it a step. He wouldn't. Firstly, he's not going to do that. He's a governor. He's a responsible guy.
No, but he is a wrestler. Those guys are nuts. I think he actually slapped a reporter once. Didn't he do that too?
That was Dr. D. David Schultz.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah.
Sam is right now filling up because I know that John Stalster got fucking slapped. Sam right now is very impressed.
That's a great video.
And he probably has another one that he can come in and tell me about.
Sam was pretty funny after the whole thing when we went off the air over there and we were walking over here. He goes, "See, you should have stuck to wrestling." Just talking about wrestling with him.
You didn't do it as Sam, though.
He should have stuck to wrestling. No, Sam doesn't sound like that anymore. His voice changed, I think.
Well,
he's growing up.
He's growing up, yeah.
He popped his cherry.
Pete in Jersey. Pete.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know what he was talking about as far as that air defense, because I'm a cop over here in Jersey.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Yeah. We were over here at the Goppels Bridge, and when we heard there was a third plane, these two fighter jets went over so fast and low, the ground shook.
When the hell did this happen? I know.
9/11? Oh, yeah.
But then he's like, I got the. He's like, I was down there a week later. So were we. I got the tour. So did we. What do you think that they fucking showed you?
Yeah.
The big cover-up thing that us didn't get to see?
I know.
Shut up. You're probably taller than the wreckage. You fucking 6'8". That us didn't get to see.
Rich Voss
how I talk.
was down there selling his CD. It's a discount for firemen.
Oh, don't try to punch it up.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, really.
Speaking of CDs,
ooh, just a
I
tip.
have two.
What?
Oh, it's about Bob again. Go ahead, Bob.
You know what? Whatever. Buy it if you want.
Give the big
Jesus.
plug.
Bob is number
Come
4 million on Amazon. Let's fucking go in there and buy some. I'm actually going to buy one of Dummy CDs on Amazon.
Ooh.
I will do that.
Yeah, just to
That's
get the
nice.
numbers up.
Happening.
What number is he on Amazon at this point there, Dan?
He is currently...
Is he moving up?
What is it?
He was earlier... what was he earlier, Travis? 80-something?
Don't humiliate him.
He was 861. He has, with a bullet, gone to 968.
What's a bullet?
Hey, what happened there?
Hey, he dropped?
He dropped
What's a bullet? Hopefully you'll call it lunch.
Look at the panic on Robert Kelly's face.
Well, no. I was actually, I told you, I was like 30, 40,000 Friday.
You were checking on Friday.
Well, no, the guy at Comedy Central was like, hey, that's not that bad.
Oh,
This is just Amazon.
Oh, they have no faith in me over there. Honest to God, he's like, well, 5,000 would be
where are
good.
you talking about? Earth?
Our buddy Bob is fucking. They kind of look at him like he's a fucking. The Comedy Central has some great things, but they don't seem to think Bob's gonna sell any CDs.
Well, he's going to sell CDs today. Just a tip. Let's say hi to Brian in Columbus. Brian, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
So anyway, like, my whole thought is, he's saying it's a conspiracy and shit. If it's not a conspiracy, if it is a conspiracy, hell. I mean, you look at Deep Throat, that was the biggest secret of all time. And he finally came out.
Yeah, between a couple of people, dude.
Secret?
Between a couple of people, it was. Like, you can't keep a secret between a few people, especially military guys and guys in the government. They can keep secrets. But when you talk about mass scale, like where you need so many, again, even in Abu Ghraib, a lot of them kept that secret. But it was, somebody couldn't.
Right.
Right.
And that was a much less serious secret.
Yeah.
But somebody couldn't keep it. And that's military in a war zone.
Always.
Yeah.
They always will.
And
Somebody will.
To Jimmy.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Jimmy, he's sitting there giving props to Jesse this morning in front of his face, saying, "Oh yeah, go get his book signed, go get your book signed," and now he's calling them shit publishers.
I was joking. I said I was kidding.
That's all jokes. Forget it. Why
You're
bother?
a fucking idiot.
Hey,
I said after that I
it's
was
all right,
kidding.
Jimmy.
You
Most
fucking
people
dumb
understand.
motherfucker. Fuck you and your dumb dad who thinks it's a conspiracy. Fucking asshole caller.
James in Montana writes.
Fucking
His eyes
I'm
get
trying to.
completely round.
What a dummy.
There's
Completely
white.
round.
They're complete. You can see white around the whole pupil when he gets mad.
Well, yeah. Well,
He gets so
listen.
mad.
I'm trying to bring some
Called
comedy.
the iris. By
I'm
the
trying
way.
to bring some comedy back into this.
Whatever.
Hold on. James in Montana writes.
Pupil's the black spot in the middle.
Yeah, around it.
But it's supposed to be
Right,
right
he did
around
say
it.
around
Supposed to get white around the pupil.
All
dummy.
right, you nerd. Don't get technical.
Listen. James in Montana. He writes, political genius and amazing
Cornea.
debate skills aside, I about shit my pants when Ant said he was 40 flurf.
Oh, is that great?
I couldn't remember. I really couldn't.
No, you're doing what I'm doing.
Alzheimer's.
You're trying to keep it down.
Like
Keep it down a few years.
How old are you?
Yeah, he goes, huh?
the government man.
It's working now. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
fuck it.
Is it back on?
Yes, it is.
No.
Opie.
Is
It was
it?
a mere
Oh, it is.
glitch.
Okay.
Now that I got brain cancer?
That hurt.
He just called his Navy
That
SEAL
scared me.
buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm cutting the lines.
He's up on the roof right now.
he's in the basement.
I'm there with
yeah.
SEAL Team 6, cutting the lines.
In the black tights. He looks all fat.
Anthony panicked and he goes, how old am I again? How many? And then he goes, 40 flurf.
40 Floor Evan.
40 flurf.
40 flurf.
Yeah, you cunt.
40 flurf.
Wait, don't get that clip.
That was Reggie
40
Jackson's
flurf.
number 40 flurf.
40 flurf. The instant feedback.
Oh, at the Obama rally.
James in
Oh, sorry.
Montana writes,
Oh, shit.
Nothing
I made that joke yesterday and no one heard it.
And I stole it today.
Damn. No, you didn't. They still got the Chuck Heston footage.
All right.
That fucking joke yesterday.
Ixnay.
All right. So what we a different TV? Okay.
No, I'm just looking at all the TVs and what's going on, Jimmy. How this guy James in Montana writes it. He wrote 40 flurf, Flurf, but now I got to hear the actual clip.
40 flurf.
40 flurf, 40 flurf. But the best part is
Mumbling idiot.
listen to Anthony. Listen to Anthony looking for help around the room. How old am I again?
We've lied for so long. I have no clue how.
What age are we admitting to these days? I'm 40 flurf. 40 flurf.
But it was so funny that Anthony was
I'm
like,
good for 40 flurf.
trying to think, like 40 or like he's looking up in the air, like that.
I didn't remember.
Jimmy, is this one going to piss you off? This guy writes, I love how you weasels discredit Jesse after he leaves when he discredited your non-serving head-up-your-ass TV watchers.
Shut up! That guy knows.
Yeah, he's
We're all
just being a
non-serving
douche.
TV watchers, and he's listening to a satellite fucking subscription service. Shut it.
And you're listening to like a show
This
where we have a
nonsense.
guy, put fingers up his ass and pull shit out of it.
Exactly. Keychain with duty on it, and he smells it.
Right.
Well, you really fucking go highbrow.
You're listening to this shit to begin with.
I gave him $100 to put his own shit fingers in his mouth.
Right.
And he did it.
That's what you're listening to. That's what you're going out of your way to listen to. And you're going to make fun of us.
Way to not go mainstream and fucking believe anything anyone's telling you. Way to only read the fucking dark, smart stuff. El Zilcho. And there's nothing I've said about
Zilcho.
Jesse that I would not say when he was in the room.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, when he left, I actually gave him a lot of things. I respect
Dude, you said a
him.
lot of unbelievable things right to his face.
Yeah, I would never say anything.
Some of your rants were
Flying
great.
out the window.
What?
Oh, no, it's the crane. It looked like, I saw a reflection in the window. It looked like a balloon floating past the window.
With all the crane accidents in this city, we said it earlier, but we could see this crane we talked about earlier today. It's right there. This fucking,
look at that.
this crane is about 10 to 15 stories high. It's got us a little nervous.
That thing tips over. We're so dead.
But by the way, I think the important thing here
Yes,
is that fucking
sir.
Anthony just confused a balloon and a crane.
Yeah.
These are not close things.
Dude, he is 44.
44.
Well,
when you're 44, if your eyes start going.
The mind's the first thing to go when you're 44.
Wait, is that a balloon? No, it's a forest fire.
How old am I? I'm 44. Hamna. Ed Norton.
Oh, no.
44.
How old am whatever.
Did we got that clip? We find it yet, Danny? Oh, you still finding it?
All right, we're going to get it in a
Asked you
second.
that. As soon as he asked your name,
44.
all the little hot 20-year-olds just scream through your head.
No, they know how old I am.
They do.
You kidding?
You tell them.
Yeah.
57 years here.
57.
Let's go to Jay in Ohio. Jay.
Good morning, boys.
Hey.
You there, man?
Yeah.
Hey, I used to work on for Grimes Aerospace on the black boxes, and they're far from indestructible. We used to do tests where we would put them in a heat chamber and run them, and we took them up so hot that they would melt. And once magnesium from aluminum starts melting, it's done deal. You can't stop it. It's a fire that won't go out. So
What heat does that happen at? Do you know?
Say again, Jimmy.
What temperature does that happen at?
At about 1,800 Fahrenheit, the magnesium fault comes out of the aluminum, and everything's destroyed.
How hot did the fire get? In did they?
204 degrees.
Oh, like you can make muffins.
He was setting up for one of our bits, Bobby.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
missed it, Bobby, you big fat pig.
All right, relax, you fucking dumb cunt. You come to one of my shows, I'll fucking punch you right in your face. We'll see how fat I am. You fat mustache cunt.
Bobby is finally handled the
I'm
fact
really
check.
gonna fucking punch you right in your face, you fat cunt. I hope you die in a fucking magnesium fire today.
But it was the way the guy said it. Please, can we hear that again?
So maybe I shouldn't read Stephen S. from Bayshore's instant feedback, huh?
What?
Hey, Ope, the crane is out there to lift Bobby's lunch up to the studio. Actually writes Blobby's lunch.
I'm not even fucking that fat, you fucking dumb audience member.
And let me tell you what I did for Stephen S. the last few days. He's been trying to push one instant feedback for the last 2 or 3 days, and I refuse to read it because it's not funny.
Which
But
one?
he keeps pushing it.
Let's hear it.
He thinks... Well, now you guys are going to laugh, though, now.
No.
He thinks Bobby's CD should be called Just the Tub.
That's not even funny.
It's bad.
I get it, but
It's
He's been
stupid.
pushing it for 2 or 3 days, but Stephen S. had to do it because you insisted that you try to get that read today. Say,
you fucking internet tough typer. It didn't work.
just the tub. It's
Yeah, now
like,
go back to your wife and go, it didn't work, honey. I thought it was. Well, maybe next time.
He's single.
Oh,
don't
fuck
make,
him.
Don't make fun of him.
Can we
Whatever.
please hear
Don't make fun of him.
Yeah, he's having a
that
tough
again.
time finding a girl. He was a little
Of course, you think so? He's spending all morning thinking of witty shit to type into this show. Why wouldn't you have a tough time?
Bobby's finally had it. I love it.
That guy called Bobby a big fat pig. It was so
What clip are we looking for?
uncalled for.
Are we going to go with 40 Fleur?
Half these guys that calling me fat, I see them at the show. They're fucking a mess.
And Bobby, how much weight have you lost?
20 pounds.
There you go.
Look at this
Come on,
fucking
Bobby, you
shit.
big
Fucking
fat pig.
cocksuckers.
I said it on...
Look at that fucking
Dude,
shit.
I said it on the radio the other day, like when you were shirtless on Pal Talk, for like a guy that's
Now, yeah.
a bit bigger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call you fat anymore. You got a well-defined, chiseled chest.
I look like an unfinished statue naked. Up top, I'm all right, but then you go down past my
not
tits.
all right. No, you're not.
Past my
All right,
tits.
all right.
No,
All
I
right,
said
what,
I look like an
44?
unfinished statue.
All right, listen, Danny's got some clips for us. Which one are we playing first?
This is 44.
44. Listen to Anthony. All right, go.
I remember back, and how old are you?
44. What am I?
Okay, you're a little...
No, stop. That's not where... You guys laughed over it. I mean, that's good and all, but he continues. Go back again. That's not
I
the
remember back, and how old are you?
44.
Okay, you're a little you're a little light, but I remember back.
I guess it was. I'm sorry.
I'm 44.
44. 44.
I'm 30.
Fucking
Oh, God, that's funny. That's going to be a name on message boards and everything. 40 Flurf. 40 Flurf. We'd like to welcome 40 Flurf to Whack Bag.
Oh, my God. Let's go to Jack in Boston. Jack, what's up?
Jimmy.
Hey, Jack. By the way, someone didn't let the 20 pounds go by. You lost 20 pounds, right, Bawabi? Well, I guess he's happy today. Fast Freddy's back with us today. He writes from Jamaica Station. 20 pounds? Did he take his lunch out of his pocket?
That's a little rude.
That's not even funny, stupid. Bobby, work on that shit and get back to it.
Bobby does look like he's lost weight. I mean, to be honest, Bobby has lost weight.
7 floor for go. Cigars and scotch. Nice. What do we got? Okay, Jack, what do you got?
Jimmy.
Hey, sir.
Yeah, the unfinished statue of a walrus. Jason from Troy. Yes, Jack.
Yeah, I just want to give Jimmy props on the precision in which he fired that book comment at Jesse. That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, again, it was irrelevant to what we were discussing, and it was based in being pompous. And when big guys try to go intellectual, what happens is this. They get annoyed if someone's intellectually going back at them, and that tendency to fucking treat little shits like me the way they always did comes out. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, don't try to go intellectual unless you're prepared for someone to go back at you that way.
Yeah.
That's all.
Let's go to Mark in Alabama. Mark?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah.
Hey. You gonna do this all day?
Yes, Mark, we hear you.
Yes, talk!
Sorry about that. I want to know why y'all didn't go after Jesse Ventura for discrediting everything the American government said, but all of a sudden believing everything Fidel Castro says.
Because he would have had an answer for it. I actually didn't think of it, but he would have just, said about the history of lying and Fidel's a freedom fighter. Whatever he would have said.
I mean, what is Fidel Castro supposed to... What is Fidel Castro supposed to say? Yeah, I shot...
I killed him.
Okay.
Well, I don't think Fidel Castro did, but yeah, of course.
I just thought it was ridiculous that he would believe everything he said.
Yeah, he really did talk to Fidel like he was fucking Honest Abe or George in front of an apple tree.
Alabama mail.
Can we please hear that clip? Because it was just so mean when he just said
Which
to Bob.
one?
Just a minute ago when the caller just got mad at Bob.
Yeah.
It was so uncalled for to call Bob.
It really was.
How hot did the fire get in the day?
204.
I come to one of my face will see how fat I am. You fat mustache cunt.
Electronic, like you're shutting a breaker off or something in my head.
Does that fucking hurt? So
Damn.
now we didn't hear that?
Let's wait.
We're going to take a break.
Replay it. Headphones are on.
Yeah, I want to
Headphones
hear
are
it.
on?
Gotta hear it.
Yeah,
All right,
replay
try it again.
How hot did the fire get in the day?
204 degrees.
Oh, like you could make muffins.
He was setting up for one of our bits, Bobby.
Yeah,
You missed it, Bobby, you big fat pig.
All right, relax, you fucking dumb cunt. I'll tell you what was funny about it. Come to one of my shows, I'll fucking punch you right in your face. We'll see how fat I am. You fat mustache cunt.
Oh, he just laid into you for no reason.
I'll tell you why that was funny, though. I'll tell you why it was funny.
You big fat pig.
It sounded like Buford T. Justice. you big dummy.
You big fat pig.
That was it. He said it with that accent. You big fat pig. He said pig.
Oh.
You missed it, Bobby. You big
Uncalled for. Totally uncalled for.
There was no reason for it.
We're going to take a break.
Oh, really? No fun. You fucking...
No, but I mean,
Hey,
no.
There's an absolute reason for it.
It was accurate.
We got to take a break. Trust me. Supposedly XM's cutting out. Signal just blinked out again.
Wow.
XM keeps cutting out.
Really?
Okay.
We'll regroup after the break and continue making fun of Robert Kelly on his big day. You would think today we would be nice.
This radio fucking stinks. This is actually affects sales coming on this fucking show. Oh, it does.
Why?
I was 800 when I showed up. I'm 910 now.
Fuck this. Stop eating.
That was a good one. That was a great one. I don't know why. I'm not going to laugh because it's about me, but you guys missed
Robert
it. That was a good
Kelly's
one.
latest project, just a tip, a CD and a DVD. You can get it on Amazon.com right now.
Hey, let's say hi to John in New York. John, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hi, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate Jimmy on the great job he did with the bully, Ventura, yesterday, Mr. Navy SEAL.
Oh, thanks, man.
Was he a Navy SEAL? I didn't notice that from yesterday's
Yeah, I read
conversation.
something like that after. He was humble about it. He didn't mention it. But I wish I had thought of it yesterday. But, because he really, for years, he didn't have anything to say about it. And all of a sudden, that crack SEAL training kicked in, and 7 years later, he said, wait a minute. There's a conspiracy. What a good way to notice when you're walking down there.
He took time to really absorb the info and make an assessment.
He was. It was pretty amazing. It was an amazing interview yesterday.
Amazing.
Thanks for the call, John.
Thank you, John.
And he was bragging about how, a poll on CNN or Larry King. A lot of people want him to be the president of the United States of America. Remember, he was bragging about that. And then after the wackiness he showed on our show, I'm like, wow.
I don't think so.
Thank God he's nowhere as close to being the president of the United States. He did a good job for Minnesota for a few years. But
Minnesota.
But I don't know. I think he's lost his mind. I really do.
Well, he could have.
Huh?
He could have lost his mind.
I said I think he did.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
I think he lost his effing mind.
I think he did.
So... And who's this, Alex? What were you trying to tell me, E-Rock, just before the show?
Alex Jones, the theorist guy for radio.
Oh my God, the what?
Oh, the theorist guy for radio?
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
the theorist guy. Like we were just gonna glaze over that.
Yeah. He's the theorist guy for radio.
Well, whatever. So
no, not whatever. What is he?
A conspiracy theorist.
Okay,
very nice. Now say that really fast.
Yeah,
go.
9/11 conspiracy theorist. Go.
9/11 conspiracy theorist.
There you go.
Oh, very nice.
His apparently his website needs to be rebooted, but on his homepage he had your photo with Jesse Ventura and it was linking to the audio of the interview. It says it starts off strong, it gets interesting, but then you guys fall apart because you can't intelligently answer his questions.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Happened.
Yeah, okay.
Good point, Alex.
When he sat there and just babbled.
Like when he spun the microphone away and wouldn't talk into it?
Yeah. He
said, "Well, you've convinced me."
He got so frustrated by the answers Jimmy was giving that he actually took the microphone away from his own face. God, who is this Alex Jones guy?
Just he does some brokerage
no, you're
radio.
supposed to say
he's a conspiracy, the theorist guy.
Huh?
The theorist.
He's syndicated on a lot of AM stations, like overnights and.
Yeah, is he? Why is everyone saying great job, Jimmy versus Ventura there? The message boards, everyone was saying it. So,
wow, and my we don't get mad, we get even.
You have to sleep sometimes.
Yes,
Is that it?
keep talking, it'll happen.
Did you sleep well? Did he come in your window and have a knife in his teeth?
I wanted to doze off while he was talking. We get it. We know the fuel. It's hot, metal burned. I know. Planes and the cell phones on the moon.
On the moon.
God, shut up. We get it.
He's had a fall from grace. That was my observation from yesterday.
Swan dive.
He had a hell of a political career going for himself, and somewhere along the way, he lost his marbles.
He's a new theorist guy, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe Rock? Sure.
Let's say hi to Steve in Chicago. Steve, what's up?
It is Steve.
How you guys doing?
Good, Steve.
Hey, Jimmy, I just wanted to say, man, you're my hero after that yesterday.
Thank you, buddy.
I don't know if you guys heard, apparently Jesse Ventura wasn't allowed to speak his mind for 3 years or something. Is that true?
No, he's 6'8". Who's telling him about to say what he wants?
He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Oh, okay, never mind. I heard false information. But anyway, I just wanted to say, man, I think this is going to be a big backlash on this psychotic, good publicity for you guys.
My problem wasn't even that his opinion was what it was, because, look, whatever. People have, when he said something about Muhammad Atta's passport, since day one, that has been to me like, all right, luckiest find ever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is creepy. how the lead hijacker's passport, you think, of course, that's a creepy...
Kind of found on the street. Yeah.
Man. I'm not going to say it's not a very, very bizarre thing.
Maybe the government just got another copy because they really wanted to tie up everything nicely. They knew it was him, but they just wanted to really show the American public.
Yeah, look.
It was him.
Found his passport.
Right.
But he sulked. It's like, what, are you going to take your toys and go home?
I don't know.
He really did.
Sorry.
I think you got to be from Manhattan to understand what it would take to wire those two buildings without anyone noticing.
I know. Come on.
Thousands and thousands of people working in that building pretty much 24/7.
Well, he had an answer for that, too, during a break. You know who was the head of security for that building for the 3 years prior?
Bin Laden?
George Bush's brother. Wait, what? Was he?
So, and then he said that they closed down a few floors, but you know, if you follow his logic, every floor would have had to been wired for explosives.
Yeah.
For it to fall like he thought it fell.
People getting in the elevator with like boxes of TNT, like cartoon things that just say dynamite on the side.
Right.
You know, well, some elevator music plays.
And how are they covering up all the holes as they're getting the explosives into the foundation of the building? And not the foundation, but the structure of the building.
Not one piece of metal with a hole that had been drilled in it was found. Like, not one out of, 10,000?
Well, he says that some of the beams were cut with shape charges. It's like, what? Were they? I never heard of that. I never saw a picture of that. I just saw tangled wreckage.
I was a SEAL. I should know that, because 7 years later, I recognized that. I didn't recognize it when I was in office, or when it happened, or when I was down there. But I saw some college student's website, and then I just, all right, we know. Sure.
And he really thought we were going to agree with him.
You know,
that was the amazing part of the whole thing, because the interview was really terrific in the beginning. We're all agreeing, and he had some interesting things to say. And then he kind of put his foot up, and he was sitting back, and he's like, and this 9/11 thing, my son told me I had to go and read some of the stuff on the internet, and man, I'm starting to believe. I'm like, whoop, time out.
Are ya?
Commercial time. We'll get back to this in a few minutes.
Every time he brought up a point, we should have just brought up facts from the movie Predator and have him try to talk about that.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the camouflage that the Predator used? How was he able to make himself look like the trees? Comment? No, I was talking about 9/11. We're talking about Predator.
Yeah. Right.
I love that. How were you able to hold that mini gun from the helicopter? Was the ammo hard to hold on that one?
Did you have a nicer trailer than Carl Weathers? Because you know why.
We wanted to talk to him about Predator and his wrestling days, but wow, that 9/11 stuff took on a life of its own yesterday.
Sam was very upset after the show.
Yeah.
That we didn't stick to wrestling, he said. He goes, you guys should have, he gave us some criticism.
Yeah.
So we should have stuck to wrestling, because then it would have made the conversation a lot nicer.
I think he was joking.
Yeah, I don't know he was.
I think he was too.
Hey, videos of Jesse Ventura's appearance is up on our website that we still cannot promote, but it's named after this fine radio show.
Mm-hmm. Crap.
They might also be linked to onaradio.com. We'll see.
Could someone power boot my computer? Thank you.
Let's say hi to Jeremy in Indiana. Jeremy.
Hey, boys.
Hey.
Jimmy, first of all, you're the man, first of all. And second of all, I just wanted to say, not only was what Jimmy was saying was awesome, counteracting everything he had to say, Opie and Anthony, you guys were perfect backup for him. You know what I mean? It was just amazing, 1, 2, 3 punch.
1, 2, 3 punch.
I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Anyway, he looked like a complete.
We were Jimmy's background singers. We were just
the Dream Girl.
We were swooping and oohing and on.
The Pips.
Anyway,
we were Jimmy's
Jimmy
Pips.
Norton and the Pips.
Yes.
We were the Pips to Jimmy Norton's fine confrontation there.
They had box cutters. cutters.
I got to tell you, Jeremy, that's really not a compliment. That you're saying basically we were his backup singers.
Well, no, but because Jimmy was holding his own, and you guys knew it. I think
Yeah, he was holding his own, squeezing it, pinching the helmet.
Yeah. Pulling it right in front of him. What are you going to do about this, big fella?
Because there wasn't much more you could say that Jimmy hadn't already said, though,
To be honest with you, dude, I wish I had more facts. When you're arguing something like that, sometimes you're arguing with common sense and emotion. I got an email last night. It's like, I wish I would have known this. Mm-hmm. When he mentioned Payne Stewart's thing, they tracked that. The guy raised a great point in an email. He's like, Payne Stewart's transponder was left on.
Right.
These planes were turned off on purpose to make it harder for them to track.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think of that. And there was a time difference. It wasn't a 20-minute tracking. It was an hour and 20.
Yeah.
This guy sent me a great MySpace from like that was some stuff I wish I had handy.
I don't really trust our government, but I certainly don't believe that the government took down the Twin Towers. I just don't believe that one whatsoever.
Well, you're convinced
whatsoever.
me. You've convinced me.
All right. Hey,
really?
We got to move on. I think we start the show today with a little sing-along. Why is that?
No, we started. Oh, my God. We started the show. Hi, good morning.
No.
Hey, how about that Jesse the Body?
Here we go.
Oh,
hold on a minute. I didn't mean to be ignorant. Mike in New York, go ahead.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Mike.
Hey, that's a little bit of an ignorant statement. You say you're wise to everything that goes on in Manhattan buildings. I'm in construction. I do work in buildings. We bring stuff in. Nobody in the buildings knows what it is. We don't even get checked by security anymore.
Oh, yeah? And,
that
sir?
was the case that doctor would have gotten hacked by the guy who came in with the bag full of knives.
Wait,
You're telling me everybody was wise in the building that knew what was going on?
But, sir?
Wait, first of all, I didn't mean to be ignorant. I think there's people that don't live in Manhattan and think and have no idea of the hustle and bustle of some of these buildings. And so you believe that
because of the hustle and bustle, everybody's busy and not paying attention to what's going on around.
Not paying attention to people drilling holes in beams through walls?
Hey, you know how many times we do it in construction sites? People walk by, they don't ask questions.
Dynamite?
Yeah, we're not
putting
talking
fuses.
But we're not talking a basic construction project where you drill a couple of holes for something.
Or replace a ceiling tile.
This would be a major job. And why hasn't anyone come forward? And don't say because they died in the buildings. I'm thinking if a major construction thing is happening, you probably would have quit your job and realized, wow, something huge is going down here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a part of it. And I got to tell the authorities.
I got you. I'm going to go with Jesse Ventura on this one. You guys completely convinced me. I'm convinced.
No, you really believe that the government took down the Twin Towers?
Oh, no. I'm just saying, you made it sound like, we know everything that's going on because if you're in Manhattan, nothing sneaks by your eyes.
No,
there's a lot of stuff that sneaks by. I live in Manhattan myself, and there's a lot of things that happen.
Have you ever been around the Twin Towers?
Yeah, of course. I've worked down there.
It was like a mini city.
Of course, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot going on. It's impossible to see everything that's going on or be wise to it all.
There's way too many eyes. Way too many eyes.
Listen, guys, I don't want to upset you. I love the show. I love you guys.
You have already.
All right, I apologize for the ignorant statement. I just know we get a lot of people that come into New York and they've never been in the Twin Towers and they make up, they come up with all these theories. It's like, were you ever in and out of that building? Do you understand what it would have taken?
I wonder if the people drilling the holes and planting the dynamite to kill everyone in the building, do they take lunch? And if so, what do they talk about? Like, they're human beings. They're not robots. So, like, they're drilling, they're putting, like, dust in, and they're walking by basically people that they're helping to murder.
Yeah.
Thousands of them. Do they go down? You want to grab a hoagie?
Yeah, they get one of the gophers. Hey, grab some sandwiches for the guys.
Right.
All right, yeah, we're just here to, murder people.
Yeah. And we got to do the 88th floor tomorrow. We're on floor 87. They're in the other building. You want to meet downstairs later for Coke? All right.
So what'd you do today at work, hon? Well, we're demolishing the Twin Towers. Well, I didn't hear that on the news or anything. They never brought that up. Yeah, I know. It's odd.
Yeah, keep it under your hat, honey. Between us.
Say anything.
It's just amazing.
It was a hell of a day today. We were laughing. We were up on the 86th floor, just drilling holes and putting explosives in there. And, that guy Mike, he's such a character. He took the TNT and made antennas with it, and he was walking around and making the employees laugh.
Or maybe they didn't know what they were doing. They were just doing what they were told.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like on September 11th, like, wait a minute. I drilled holes in that building for 6 months and put bombs in. That could have been what happened.
I think I might have been responsible for that. Stop it.
Plus, the more you read about 9/11, they were hoping to completely destroy the economy of the United States of America. So the president of the United States was going to take that risk, take down these two huge buildings and possibly collapse the economy?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a risk right there. We're going to try this out. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's something we've been noticing for a while now, and we might have something.
It's the radio voice. Ho, ho, hey!
Like we talked about, like so many radio guys seem.
Well, I wanted to at least acknowledge that production right there because
terrific.
Boy, are the listeners going to be disappointed. The big la da 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 da, and then it's going to be crap.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of talk about how they all sound similar. And it's like if you have Patrice in here and you got Ope and myself, you can pretty much tell who's who when you're listening to us yap.
Yeah.
But when you listen to some of these guys talk, they all have that radio school voice.
Radio voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we put a montage together. And I want you can just play along at home. Figure out how many different radio guys are featured in this montage. You might be surprised. Okay? Here is the montage.
And I don't like when people call me Todd Clem because that's not my name. My name's Bob with the Love Sponge Clem. I had it legally changed.
Kids Like Us 101, the ongoing on-air adult education course that teaches men how to get more tail for less money.
You never want to come on after a show that was popular, and I understand that. And I never wanted to do it. I never, ever, and it was offered to me at one point, and I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
Oh, a great movie. You don't know what you're talking about. Cinematic masterpiece. You have no idea what you're doing.
If I was a hot chick, I'd be the same way. It's like, I'm not paying for anything for you, dude. I'm hot. There's a bunch of dudes that can pay stuff for me.
That's why it's asinine, the controlled corporate press claiming that we didn't own guns in the colonies and that most people didn't have guns. Everybody owned guns. It was a frontier nation. We just had massive wars with the French.
Snoop Dogg's real name is Calvin Brodus. You hate him now, right? Huh? Huh? That's funny. That's not funny. They're not funny.
Oh, that description
That's
is
awesome.
even terrible.
How amazing is that?
Oh, they all
slight changes, if we're being honest here, but for the most part, it's the same over-the-top voice.
Some of the changes are just the voice, the recording quality.
Right. Yeah.
The sound coming out.
They all have that stupid radio voice.
Yeah. Oh, we have one more? They're telling me we have one more to play for everybody. That should have been part of the montage.
Yes, it is. This is E-Rock along with Danny, Nathaniel, and Travis taking you through 12 hours of the best of Opie and Anthony since coming to XM Satellite Radio. We've got segments of Opie losing his mind, Anthony freaking out, Little Jimmy outbursts, Steve from Yellowstone calls, Ramon promos, Drew Boogie remixes, in-studio guests.
I left this delivery in the toilet.
Segments, listener submissions, and a whole lot more. Let's start things off with a selection from our first category, Best Show Opener, on the best of Opie and Anthony.
Oh, the best. Oh, Anthony.
He's it's so adorable. He's got like a baby radio voice. In another few years, you'll sound just like Mancow and Bubba the Love Sponge, and who else was in there? Tom Likas.
It is adorable.
Alex Jones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys.
There were 7 guys in that?
There were 7 guys in the montage.
I guessed 1.
7 guys all sounding very similar. All trying to make believe like they're setting the radio world on fire with their delivery and their voice. So
I thought E-Rock's promo. Eric, we just listened to your promo.
Oh, God.
We just listened to you promoting some old XM best of. And you sound good.
It's horrible.
You list a bunch of stuff. It's good.
In your radio voice.
Could you say something in your radio voice, please?
It's very energetic. Anything? No?
I don't get it.
Great.
Yeah, God almighty, Eric. Talk.
Millionaire's tax could find New York City mass transit. Obama calls for talks with Iran over Iraq.
He can't even do it right.
You know what I want to do right now? I want to grab your neck fat and pull it up over your head like a sweater and kiss you.
Like a tip.
All right. That worked. All right, let's move on to something else.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
For 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was good. We really had nothing after it.
The Jesse Ventura thing from the other day is getting a lot of chatter.
A lot of attention, some chatter.
Well, you got the 9/11 conspiracy guys. They've pretty much jumped on the fact that Jesse was on our show and arguing with Jimmy for the most part. Jimmy and Jesse going at it.
Yeah, he was terrific. His instincts just really kicked in when he walked around down at Ground Zero. Boy, a mere 6.5 to 7 years later. Wait a minute.
You know, I was talking to my son about it, and, were you?
Yeah, good.
What did he say? Pointed it to some lame website.
There was probably loose
Half-truths.
change. It was probably loose change or something. But if you're into talking about the 9/11 conspiracy thing, you should go to Whackbag because they're rocking. They're rocking that topic on that message board big time. The Jesse Ventura thing just stimulated that whole conversation.
Yep.
And we're getting people from other message boards and other radio shows all coming to, Whackbag because they all heard about the Jesse Ventura interview.
God, they're trying so hard to make it like the 60s. There should be an investigation. All right, into maybe certain failures in communication.
All right, gatekeeper.
Yeah, just childish.
You know what? I'm starting to think that Oswald just got lucky and killed the president of the United States. Because I'm starting to think like in 9/11 terms. When 9/11 happened, we were all here, everybody, whether you were in New York City or watching on TV, you're like, wow, planes just took down the Twin Towers. It was as obvious as that.
Yeah.
6 years later, some of these conspiracy theories, they got, I hate to say it, they got some legs. I still I don't believe it whatsoever, but they got some legs. And I'm starting to think back in the day with JFK, I bet you the same thing happened. It was Oswald. He shot the president. End of story. But then you start getting a little info here, a little info there. And next thing you know, it becomes this massive, huge thing.
Man.
Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. He just rattled off some shots, got lucky on one of them.
But then all of a sudden somebody came up with one little thing that was a little suspicious, and that led to this thing that was suspicious. And then, well, what about the lady with the weird hat on the lawn? Oh, well, let's add that to this thing.
I saw a puff of smoke.
Puff of smoke from behind the fence. Well, we'll add that to the thing. Next thing you know,
bolt-action rifle. How the hell could he fire off that many rounds?
Right, and then a bunch of years go by, and then you got this massive conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the same thing is slowly but surely happening with the 9/11 thing.
Well, there's also been a lot of myths, and I don't know all of them, about the JFK conspiracy. It's like you read it, and the way the conspiracy, a lot of them paint it, it's like, of course it would be a conspiracy if it happened that way. But when you hear certain facts like, no, because the lady with the hat felt a bullet whisk through the flower. And you're like, how could the FBI have missed that? But then you go to, the anti-conspiracy website, that just simply didn't happen.
Yeah.
It sounds great, but it didn't happen.
There's a lot of just lies on those sites that are they're disproven.
Yeah.
By documentation, photographs, and records of people that were on site. Like the loose change comes up with these theories and what they say is fact. And then you would look at other sites, and it's like, no, here's a picture of a part of the fuselage with the windows in it, where they said there were no windows in that plane that hit. Well, what are these, dummy?
Yeah. I just disappointed my brother Elmo.
Oh.
You want to talk about conspiracy theories? He's all about JFK.
Yeah.
He's all about it. He spends hours and hours online arguing with these
knows everything about it.
And he believes that there was a lot going on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't think it was just Oswald whatsoever. And he writes today, read the actual Warren Commission testimony. Who has time to read that? I get my info from the internet. A little here, a little there. How many people heard shots from the knoll? It's incredible. According to the Warren Commission, there were a lot of people that heard shots from the grassy knoll that day.
Yeah. Could have been echoes. I'm not even saying it wasn't another guy. I'm not going to say it wasn't Oswald and another guy who just got away.
Could have been echoes on a fence. You hear that crack, crack. It sounds like more shots because sound travels slow,
right?
Relatively speaking, and you could definitely make out the difference in time when someone fires a shot and you hear it ricochet off the sound ricochet off a fence. Mm-hmm. It's going to sound like it's coming from the fence.
Right.
It's going to sound like two shots. One came from the fence.
There was a good point I read about somebody who was talking about the grassy knoll, and he was saying that a lot of everyone ran towards the knoll after the shot. And the point was, how many people, when they hear a bullet fired, run towards the gun?
Yeah.
You run away from it.
Yeah.
You don't run towards where the gunman is.
Must run toward gunman.
And they all ran up the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
So again, I would guess to get away. But he's right. People did say they heard a shot.
Maybe that was the easy way out, because we all spent some time in Dealey Plaza, and if you're in the middle there, you're going to want to run to the outside, and maybe that was just the closest escape route. I don't know.
It's to the end.
Yeah.
You're running to a place that you can hide.
Yeah.
You can't hide there in Dealey Plaza. What, you lay on the yellow line and pretend you're part of the street? There's nowhere to go.
We should do a JFK show maybe on the other side. My brother has more knowledge than anyone out there. Simple as that. I mean, he will spin your head with what he knows and doesn't know, I guess.
Dude, he better shut up about it.
Yeah, no kidding.
People, can come and get him.
Dude, the government's not going to find him. We can't even find him at this point.
Yeah, where the hell is he?
I don't know. Our own family doesn't know where he is half the time. So how is the government going to find him?
They'll follow a T-shirt trail.
By the way, Brother Elmo completed his book. He put together a fine book that skews TV and movies, and there's a lot of his cartoons in there. And he's trying to get a publisher. He's got some bites, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for Brother Elmo. Go to MySpace, Brother Elmo, and you can check out some samples of his book. It's pretty damn good. I hope it gets published. I think that'd be really cool for him.
And talk to him about Black Dog Man. He knows who that is.
He does. He certainly does.
And how technology has proved that Black Dog Man was 2 feet tall. I'll sit you down, Elmo. We'll talk.
2 feet tall.
Technology is hurting some of the JFK conspiracy stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Darren goes, my brother Elmo goes, Zapruder film shows JFK's head violently flying backwards. Oswald alone is BS. But they try to explain that too, right?
No, yeah.
We'll never know, man. Anyway.
This guy, has Aunt seen Loose Change? Yes, I watched the whole thing.
You said you didn't.
Oh, shut up. I did.
I heard you only did 5 minutes.
No, I watched the entire thing.
And then you had to go to the bathroom again.
Yeah, that was
crap.
It was loose change pouring out.
Tom, go ahead.
Tom, yes?
Yeah, and listen, you watched Loose Change, right?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Now, when the planes hit the towers, they left the impression of the wings on the side and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now when they hit the Pentagon, where's the impression of the wings?
All right, the Pentagon's made out of brick. Very, very. It's a lot tougher than the metal on the outside of the Trade Center. Also, the plane hit.
Sorry, he's telling you. He's answering your question.
Dude, the plane hit on an angle. It didn't hit straight into the Pentagon at a 90-degree angle to the wall. It hit at an angle that you're not going to get the impression of the silhouette of a plane. That's just how it happened.
Do you think it's possible for that 757 to make it all the way through the building like they showed?
Yeah.
The different layers?
It made through a few. It went through a few rings of the Pentagon. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. The engines, it did, and you could see the outline of the plane that they show when you take away the smoke and stuff. Because Loose Change likes to show you the picture of the Pentagon with a lot of debris and stuff in front of the image.
They showed all kinds of stuff about how Osama bin Laden was taken to a hospital by U.S. people and a bunch of nonsense.
They should see this.
But I'm with Jesse Ventura on a lot of things.
That's
and
terrific.
If he ran for president, I'd vote.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. He's a terrific guy. He can't handle a debate without being a baby and spinning his microphone around. Go, okay, you convinced me.
Yeah, he was getting
real presidential material. Because that's how Clinton or Obama or Reagan would handle it. You convinced me. All right, we get it. We get it. Navy SEAL, tough, real knowledge. We get it.
Yeah, he got really frustrated, and it wasn't like we were.
Find out one day.
Right.
Yes, we will.
Find out one day that a cruise missile was shot at the Pentagon. Is that what I'm led to believe?
Yeah, we'll find out.
That it was a cruise missile. It was a plane, just like the planes that hit the building, just like the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. It was another plane. The guy came in and hit the Pentagon with an airplane.
All right. Hey,
what about the people? I love that. Where did the people go that were on that flight that hit the Pentagon?
And who built the windowless plane with the bombs? And, how did air traffic control it? I understand the transponders were up, but there's 4 planes flying around that took off.
Yeah.
With when did they magically get replaced by the other planes?
Yeah.
So at one point there had to be a shift in the air where the real planes with the people takes off to kill them. And at perfect timing, the windowless bomb-laden planes have to all appear.
They have to appear, and then where are the people?
Did the government just kill the people? Did they go, sorry, people, your flight now is being, we have to land somewhere else. These armed military people will escort you to a hangar where you'll be executed.
Yeah, what soldiers did this? Soldiers are 19. They can't keep a secret either.
Listen, taking pictures of the prisoners in Iraq with leashes and that dumb Lindy England with her thumbs up.
And her stupid, what?
I'm just trying to get in here because we made the Loose Change blog.
Oh.
Screw them.
Loose Change 9/11 blog. Jim Norton makes me nauseous.
Good. I'm glad.
Posted April 9th, 2008. Let me read this. It's a paragraph. A while back, I was on the Opie and Anthony show. Corey had scheduled an interview with an unknown XM radio show. When I walked into work that morning to pack DVDs, and he was in
an unknown XM radio
show? When I walked into work that morning
screw off, you dopes.
To pack DVDs, and he was in panic mode because he was being attacked at a rampant pace. I immediately jumped on the phone and tried to be civil while not realizing what show I was on. It wasn't until after I hung up that I realized I had just been berated and cursed out by Jim Norton, a physically...
Oh, no.
Sorry, Jim.
Oh, no. Is he going to make fun of the way I look?
Sorry, Jim.
Oh, no.
I apologize ahead of time before I read the next word.
What?
A physically... hideous being.
Hideous.
With no talent. I love the people that just take it to that level.
Oh, what's the
no
matter?
Talent. Okay.
Little children. What's the matter? Didn't like the scolding.
Yeah.
Aww.
Who resorts to making jokes about having sex with underage girls.
What?
That's all Jim Norton does?
Doesn't.
That's part of what I do. Part of it.
Sure.
A small part if you put it all together.
I love writing jokes like that.
Right.
I don't resort to them. I start off with them. You dummies, little children looking for mommy and daddy's love. I want to solve the crime.
I'm going to be somebody.
Yeah, man.
And then it continues. Be warned, the audio in this clip is full of language not appropriate for youngsters.
I wonder if they show the same warning when they show the 9/11 footage. People handle planes going through the building.
Yeah.
They can handle me cursing you out, little child.
So they got that audio of when Loose Change was on our show back in the day.
They stunk. And they couldn't defend their point.
No, not at all. They never do.
Stunk.
And then after the link for the clip, it says, so why bring it up at this point? Well... Jesse Ventura was in studio. I'm telling you, our Jesse Ventura interview it's got legs. It's starting to spread around. Was in studio with these clowns the other day and schooled them.
Again, just a little.
Are you
he
crazy?
Schooled us?
He knows he didn't.
Jesse Ventura did not school. I was pretty much out of that segment. Did not school Anthony and Jim Norton. The guy went like this with his microphone because he was frustrated because he was losing so bad.
That's why. Like I just did one second. I got an email from a guy who's a 9/11 conspiracy guy. He and I always go back and forth, whatever. But he goes, Jesse didn't know what he was talking about because he knew Jesse made an ass of himself. But it figures that the little blog boy on that site would say that because that's what a little boy does. They side with whatever their side is. Jesse won. Jesse won.
Jesse showed them.
But he didn't. And you know he didn't.
He didn't have. He couldn't back anything up.
Right.
He's coming up with these cockamamie, harebrained ideas.
We got a break, but let me get the rest of this in here. Well, Jesse Ventura was in studio with these clowns the other day and schooled them. Sure, he's a much more physically imposing guy than myself. It was looking these guys in the eyes, but his mind is just as imposing. While most people are focusing on his appearance on Hannity and Combs, I think this is a true gem. And then he has the audio. How much of the audio does he have? Because another site only had a clip of our interview with Jesse Ventura where Jesse was making a bunch of points without us counteracting his points.
Oh, we actually allowed him to speak.
Exactly.
Uninterrupted. Jeez.
And
go screw us.
And the interview has made its way to Fark.com. It was on the front page yesterday. Supposedly Break.com might throw it on their front page today or tomorrow. So this thing's got legs. If you want to go to loosechange911.com/blog and see what this clown wrote about Norton, and if you want to see the video of the Jesse Ventura interview, that's up there as well. But I'm sure it's only a piece. I don't think they would post the whole thing.
I'm glad I make you nauseous. What you're trying to do, you stink, and you're just little children trying to prove an unprovable point because you want to be different. You can't just handle the fact that, that's what happened, and it sucked. They caught us with our pants down, and you don't like that.
No one could deal with that. Not no one, but these conspiracy guys. They can't just deal with the fact that, hey, we screwed up. Well, what about all the security? It's like, yeah, exactly. What about it? Yeah. It's screwed up.
Why don't the FBI and the CIA talk? I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently should have.
Yeah.
How are these savages allowed to come into the country on student visas? I don't know. They should have been able to.
Jesse the Body says they should all be allowed in.
Of course. No borders. If I was president, there wouldn't be borders. Oh, good.
We'd allow everybody in.
That's good.
Yeah, good. Good policy.
Yeah, let's go to John in New York. John.
Guys, I think the guy with the airplane comment had a valid point, because I saw it on Bugs Bunny. He ran right through the wall and left a perfect outline of himself in the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they expect.
He's getting his knowledge from cartoons. So this all leads to a fine production piece that Derek did for us. It's called And Justice for Brawl.
For one night only, two heavyweights will do battle in a steel cage. Only one man will walk out with his wits intact. When Jesse the Body Ventura takes on Slugneck Jimmy Norton.
All I can say is that, and I have no background that you guys have, certainly, as a Navy SEAL.
I know you're a Navy SEAL.
I'm answering your question.
But you're not. You're saying I'm not a Navy SEAL. What's that got to do with it?
Opie and Anthony present Conspiracy Mania 6 and Justice for Brawl.
Here we go! Anything goes!
Why is it that when you're asking questions that are speculative and I ask a question, you get angry? Why are you getting angry?
Oh, yeah, look out here! Hey!
All I'm doing is asking questions.
I know, but I'm saying that we're trying to give some kind of common sense answers, and we give a common sense answer.
You can try to out-yell me.
No, but
and do
I'm
all
just
that
trying
you
to
want.
answer you.
There is your failure.
It's not out-yelling you, but you ask a question, you throw a question out, and I try to answer or at least speculate, and then you go, oh, okay, time.
Yes, you're an experienced guy that would know.
Not just common sense. Like you said, you use common sense. And I ain't no Navy SEAL, but I have common sense.
We told you, this is going to be a brawl!
See it live, nowhere, because it already happened. It's Conspiracy Mania 6 and Justice for Brawl.
We got a busy show. We got Jesse Ventura coming back.
Oh, really?
The last time he was in here...
Yeah, I was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And there's a conspiracy that you don't know about.
Well, how do you know about it?
I was a Navy SEAL. How long ago?
Before or after you wore a feather boa and fakely punched people?
You can say that when he's here.
Yeah.
You know, I won't. That's why I'm saying it now, Jim.
I like to see
Don't blame
him.
you.
I don't do the same joke twice.
I like to see him fakely punch you when he gets here.
Fakely.
I think it won't fakely hurt whatsoever.
His giant mitt. Yeah, there's a picture of him with his feather boa.
Wow,
Just have that up when he comes in. Remember that guy? What happened to him? How was anyone taking him seriously?
He had a lot of fun. He was a fun guy. That version.
He was. That version was a lot of fun.
Didn't he pretty much threaten us the last time he was in here? Or little Jimmy?
Threatened Jimmy with a, you gotta sleep sometime, I think was the line, which meant that Jimmy should have had his throat slit in his sleep by Jesse Ventura, which would have been odd.
You could have sued Jimmy.
I don't know. For what? Sleep deprivation?
Right. Yeah, Sue, go. I haven't slept since you were here last.
I'm
Thanks
going to
a
wait
lot.
for 18 months, Jess.
But Jimmy always has what he likes to call a tranny shield on him, just in case anybody comes in at night. No? Nothing?
Nah, it was funny.
I was tripping over
I
it.
know you were.
My tongue isn't working yet.
You fumbled drunkenly into the room with that one.
Humana. Well, Jesse Ventura was...
late. Bob Eatman.
Yeah, we'll get into the Bob Eatman thing in a second. Jesse Ventura on Larry King, just to set up the big interview with the Opie and Anthony show today. He had a lot of things to say about torture. That's the big one now. I think he's moved past the 9/11 stuff for a little while, and now he's all about torture,
waterboarding,
the waterboarding,
right,
and whatnot.
He's very likable. Oh yeah, very intelligent, which is a change from our previous president.
Talking about me.
All right, already with Bush, okay?
He's talking about Obama, how Obama's intelligent and blah blah blah.
Oh, great!
And he's still taking shots at Bush. Pretty much everyone has moved on from Bush, right?
Yeah,
Just leave the guy alone now.
Except for the real hardcore left-wing people. Jeanine Garofalo will still throw out a barb every so often.
She's terrific.
Oh, isn't she wonderful?
On her bad side.
Ugh. God.
Ugh. She might hit us with her notepad in between jokes that she's just trying out.
I bet she has hairy armpits.
Do you think?
Yeah, she's too cool to shave.
Who was saying recently they think she's, like, kind of hot? It was somebody on our show.
Well, no, I remember seeing her in
Danny said there was a movie hot and wants to have sex with her.
No, I said that there was a movie that probably came out in like the early 90s, and she wasn't that bad in it.
Which one?
I don't know. I'd have to go check it out, but she wasn't
Copland?
that bad. No, I don't think so. I don't know what it was.
I thought she was cute.
She was all right
years
in
ago.
a couple movies.
You guys are crazy.
When she first she was on an HBO Young Comedian special years ago.
Oh, yeah?
I remember liking her when she was on. Yeah.
Well, let's see what Jesse is saying.
Very likable. Oh, yeah, met very intelligent, which is a change from our previous president.
All right already with Bush, okay?
No. I live in Mexico now, Larry, so I do a lot of reading. I don't watch much TV, and this year's reading, I covered Bush's life, I covered Guantanamo, and a few other subjects, and I'm very disturbed about it. I'm bothered over Guantanamo because it seems we've created our own Hanoi Hilton.
Oh.
And we can live with that. I have a problem.
Yeah.
I will criticize President Obama on this level. It's a good thing I'm not president, because I would prosecute every person that was involved in that torture. I would prosecute the people that did it. I would prosecute the people that ordered it, because torture is against the law.
Shut up! He's coming in here with that drivel?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, Christ, I'm going to get hit. I am just going to get that big meaty fist in my face, and I know it.
He likes to argue. He loves it.
If he'd prosecute, that's good. That really keeps our country safe, you dummy.
You know what?
I've read. And he's going to start the whole thing. Do you read books? Shut it. I live in Mexico now. Good. Stay there.
Save it for when he gets in here, my friend.
No, I'm saying it now so I don't have to say it again, and I have the excuse that I said it already.
All we should talk about is his movies.
Yes.
Nothing topical.
That's great. You know, you were fantastic. How was that machine gun to hold in Predator? Was it heavy? Was it a prop gun?
Mm-hmm. Hold on a minute. We got a very good question coming in from Greg on Long Island.
Greg?
First laugh of the morning from Greg on Long Island. Go ahead, Greg.
How you doing?
Good.
So now you're standing out in front of Larry King's studios like a pack of wild dogs.
They're taking my guests.
That's where you're getting them from.
I can't stress the nonsense that we have to deal with. The complete nonsense.
Hysterical.
Howard actually said that we're standing outside his studio like wolves stealing his guests.
Stealing the guests.
And we have to sit here and just listen to this nonsense. We call it nonsense. Ugh. Let's say hi to Dustin in Texas. Dustin.
Hey.
Hey, man.
Hey, when Ventura comes in, ask him about his global warming theory. I heard him on another show saying he could prove global warming because of the thermometer on his rearview mirror of his truck.
That's wonderful.
All right, write that one down, Dan. We got to ask him about global warming.
Is it a gag? Is it a bit? Is it a work?
Oh, no.
What's he doing? What's he doing? It's a work, right? Vince is going to hire him back as the kooky politician guy that gets in and hits people with chairs.
No, he said when he sits in traffic, his thermometer on his rearview mirror goes up, and when he goes down the road, he goes back down. So that obviously proves that global warming is real.
No, it proves that when you're sitting in traffic on pavement, that the ambient temperature around your vehicle will rise. It's like if you walk. I got it. Listen to this guy. He knows it all. You son of a bitch. It's like walking on on grass as opposed to walking on blacktop.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be warmer, but it doesn't mean you're warming the entire environment.
You got to get him to spit that out because he believes it. I mean, he was serious. He was dead serious.
All right, cool.
You could go to a pristine part of the world that is untouched by human hands, and certain parts of it over maybe a meadow, the temperature will be cool. Certain part over rocks that the sun are beating on will be warmer. It's just the way it is. What is he talking about?
How about we start with New York City? In the summertime, it's way hotter than than in the suburbs because that heat's just bouncing off all the
global warming,
all the concrete,
ambient temperature around structures and things like that. It's not changing the environment's temperature or on a global level.
All right, Dustin. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay.
And then Jesse had this to say on Larry King. Now we're into the waterboarding thing.
And you were a Navy SEAL. That's right, and I was waterboarded. So I know
Not
at
enough.
SEER school, survival, escape, resistance, evasion, it was a required school you had to go to prior to going into the combat zone, which in my era was Vietnam. All of us had to go there.
Did you
we
go?
were all, in essence, every one of us was waterboarded. It is torture.
What's it like?
It's drowning. It gives you the complete sensation that you are drowning. And it's no good because I'll put it to you this way. You give me a waterboard, Dick Cheney, in 1 hour, and I'll have him confess to the Sharon Tate murders.
Hell of an allegation he's making there.
That's pretty funny, though. He didn't say the Manson murders.
Yeah.
He,
he was waterboarded. He said it himself. It's the sensation of drowning. He's not. He's alive. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody died during the waterboarding that the CIA did to these criminal fucking terrorists. What is with this guy? Some people just want another 9/11 type scenario, I guess, in this country. They've completely forgotten what September 12th was like. They've completely forgotten what it was like to sit back and go, did that really happen yesterday? Or was that like fake? And then you realize, no, my God, that really happened. Well, now we have to do something so that never, ever happens again. The horror, the feeling of helplessness that you felt watching the buildings collapse, the Pentagon get hit, people on a jet plane crashing into the ground and into building, the horror they must have felt. The sadness of an actual attack on the United States. People just fucking forgot that. They just all forgot it.
Waterboarding, I would prosecute every single one of them.
Shut up. Why?
Save it for Jesse.
So that they could go back, let them all out. Let them all out of Guantanamo. Let them all get back and regroup and attack us again. That's a great idea. You have that fucking feeling in your gut. Where the fuck were you when that happened?
Were you a Navy SEAL at the time?
No, we were in fucking New York, asshole. We were here at the battlefield. Oh, and you noticed how he said he was a Navy SEAL during the Vietnam era. Does that mean you went? Were you in Vietnam?
I was waterboarded.
Were we really part of the battle, though?
What?
I got to correct you on that one.
Let me tell you something.
Were we in the middle of the battle?
When you lived in New York City at that point, when that was happening, you did not know how far it was going. You didn't know if there were stories that there were 10 more planes in the air heading for where the fuck ever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were closer to the battlefield than Jesse the Body was. They just and I'm not just pointing him out. He's just one of a lot of people that have just completely forgotten what that feeling was. We need that feeling back. We need to take these people, maybe take a couple of family members and kill them in horrible ways so that they can feel that awfulness that you had, that violated feeling that everyone had on September 12th and onward a couple of years until people just fucking forgot it happened. Ugh, you people disgust me. Disgust me!
This is a wonderful rant, but you're going to do it in front of Jesse, right?
I will.
No holding back today, my friend.
I will.
This is all just a pregame until Jesse shows up now.
Here's what, actually, just...
The rest of the show doesn't even matter. Matter of fact, I would say go away for 3 hours and then come back when Jesse's here.
No, I'm gonna go into the studio and just record some sounds and then go home. Here's what you can play while Jesse is here. What? You're out of your mind. Get out of here. You forgot. Just play it on the soundboard, and I'll go home and listen.
Do the one, fuck me, fuck you.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I love that one.
I use that one a lot in private life.
How about this one, too? Are you trying to tell me?
Yeah. I can't believe it.
Can you do the fuck me, fuck you?
Fuck me, fuck you.
And then... it's written this way, so I got to read it. Oh, Larry proves why he's a great interviewer.
Oh, God. Okay.
And finds out what a SEAL is.
Who wrote this?
Well, Sam. So
obviously.
Guess what? We're going to find out that Larry sucks at interviewing. All right, here's Jesse. And Larry proving he's a great interviewer.
I meant to ask you, you were a Navy SEAL, and they have a tremendous image. Was there ever a time in your life when you thought fear would overcome you?
Sure, the first time I jumped out of an airplane, I was afraid of heights. I joined the Navy SEALs so I would conquer that fear.
Why didn't you join the parachutists?
The what?
The parachutists.
Because I was 18, and at that time you joined the military if you wanted to.
If you were fear of heights, you could join the Air Force, be a paratrooper.
Air Force?
Well, I was a paratrooper.
Oh, they tell you that's part of the Navy SEAL training?
SEAL means sea, air, land, Larry.
Oh, my God, Larry.
Larry goes,
first
of all, join the Air Force and be a parachutist.
Oh, my God.
I don't know about that.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow, CNN, you got a gold mine with this
like
Larry
airborne.
King.
All right,
gold
all right.
mine.
Why didn't you join the airborne? And just be a paratrooper if you're afraid of heights and wanted to conquer your fear of heights. I understand the SEALs also do jumps, but like if you're just afraid of heights, you'd think you would become an airborne ranger or something like that, 82nd Airborne, but SEAL. Sea, air, land, Larry. How important is the parachute? When you were a SEAL, did you play honky tooty horns with your nose for fish?
Well, Jesse's coming in a little later. The big showdown. Last time it got pretty ugly.
Well, yeah.
And I'm sure it will get ugly again.
I've seen him once since then, at Red Eye, actually. He was doing a show before. He might have been, I don't know if he was doing O'Reilly or whatever. But, he was interviewed by Gutfeld on Red Eye, actually. And I was on the panel, and we just said hello, and it's pleasant.
Yeah. Hello, idiot.
Wait, you were on the same show as him?
No, but the way it works at Red Eye is like I'm the guest that sits next to Greg. So when a guest is brought in for an interview, I leave for that segment. He takes that seat.
No, gotcha.
And then I come back in after. We saw the shit in the dressing room.
Wow, Greg didn't know what he had in front of him. The confrontation that he would have had with you and Jesse.
Wow, well.
First TV show. We got Jesse Ventura coming in.
That's right. I was a Navy SEAL.
It's going to be a big showdown. Big showdown.
Oh, God.
Going on a break. Ben Stiller came in yesterday. What is it? The museum movie opens Friday.
Night at the Museum 2, yeah.
Yeah, about the...
Ben Stiller was responsible for 9/11. Shut up. Can't wait till he gets in here. Everyone's involved in some conspiracy. Only he knows everything. He's the only guy that has this insight. You try to even discuss a point, an opposing point of view with him, and instead of just discussing it, he'll try to turn, and watch, this will happen. He'll try to make it that you're stupid, you haven't read what he read, you haven't been a Navy SEAL, so you're in no position to even argue the point with him.
You're going to say this to him, right?
No.
Come on, you got it.
Crazy? Insane? The guy's a madman.
I've read a lot of the same books he has, and he's just misrepresenting them.
All right, we're going to have some fun with Jesse. You know what you could do, Ann, to get ready for the interview? Duff McKagan soundboard, you could push that closer to you just so you have some, protection between you and Jesse.
I could do that so he can't...
Start building your protection now.
Yeah.
We'll find some stuff. We could pile up the couches around.
Gotta sleep sometime.
I hear him, but I don't know where he is. You're just behind this wall of stuff.
Maybe when Jesse goes to punch you in the face, you could jump over there and sing Maresy Dotes and Dozy Dotes and Little Lambs with Ivy. That was bombing, and I wanted to stop it.
Wow.
I couldn't.
Okay, faggot, what's next?
I'm going to remind Jesse that some people never got over their fear of heights. The people that had to jump off the top of the World Trade Center. They didn't get over their fear of heights by going to SEAL school.
Well, you could thank George Bush for that.
Yeah, exactly, because they were in on it. Shut it!
Right to his face, right?
No, I'm saying it now.
I think you're brave enough.
Once he gets here, I'll say I loved his work. And
no, I think you'll get riled
great,
up.
and
I think
he's fantastic.
You'll get riled up. All right, we got to get that.
Anyhow, okay, enough of that.
Hey, Duff, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to see you.
Is he still the governor?
No.
No.
I
don't know.
He is insane.
Yes,
he's still insane.
And he's still very large.
Yeah. So you can't call him that.
No.
Don't. Oh, he'll see me out in the lobby now, though.
Yeah, you shouldn't have called him insane.
No.
Duff said that.
Well, as we walk out, I'll say that to Mike. Why'd you call Jesse Ventura?
All of a sudden, Mike goes flying from the 36th floor window.
I was a Navy SEAL. All right. Yeah.
All right, we got to get
We'll have Jesse in here in a minute.
Yeah, quick break, and we'll get Jesse in here. Opie
Great.
and Anthony. It's the Opie and Anthony show. Very, very busy day today. In studio, Jesse Ventura.
Yes.
Promoting Don't Start the Revolution Without Me.
On paperback.
Oh, out on paperback. That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
you came around when it was out originally. Now
then they make you do it again when the paperback comes out. You got to come out and do all the shows all over again, and that's part of the obligation of when you write a book. If it's successful enough and makes it to paperback, you're happy to do it because it means the book was a success. Take it to paperback.
And you got to write extra pages too, because you got to give them a little extra, right?
Yep. So I updated it now because, of course, I wrote the book, and the epilogue of the book is complete fiction. I write fact all the way till the epilogue, and then I switched over to fiction without telling you.
Oh, really? It just becomes a murder mystery.
And I had to kind of remove that because I did a fictional piece saying that martial law, that I and Robert Kennedy Jr. are running for president, and that martial law is declared here, and they suspend because there's an attack of 6 of our cities, and they suspend the elections. And then I wanted to kill myself in the book, but Dick Russell, the guy who wrote it with me, wouldn't allow it, so I end up in a coma.
Why wouldn't he allow it? Did he thought it was too depressing?
No, he probably wanted to do another book with me, which we're now doing. So he figured if I kill... See, I created Jesse Ventura, so I felt I had the right to kill him.
No, that's true.
Since I created him, the public image of who he is, then who would have the right to kill him other than me? Mm-hmm. And that's what I kind of wanted to do, because when I moved to Mexico, I had no intention really of going into the public eye anymore. It was like a getaway to go down there.
Now, you obviously you spend a lot of time down in Mexico, I gather?
Yep.
Yeah. And you enjoy what down there as opposed to being here?
First of all, the weather.
Well,
you notice that I'm a lot tanner than all you guys are.
Yes.
You guys look pretty pale to me, like you need some sun. But then again, in New York City, the sun's hard to reach you here. You got to look straight up just to see the sky.
This is true.
Yep. And so, but I've taken up surfing. I used to do a lot of body surfing and boogie boarding, but now I'm trying to make the transition at this late time in my life to board surfing.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. It's a dedication. I often like to say this. Surfing is a lifestyle, and you must be completely dedicated to it. Imagine if you were that dedicated to religion. Would they call you a religious bum?
Hey, that's something
surf bum.
No, they call us bums. You're a surf bum. I don't like that connotation because it's a dedication and a lifestyle. It's a like I tell people, here's my life in Mexico. I can tell it to you in one sentence. I wake up every morning with nothing to do, and when I go to bed at night, I'm half done.
You can't compare surfing to religion because of the connotation. Surfing has done nothing but commit horrific acts and violence all over the world and murder people in its name.
Oh, yeah, and religion don't do that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
no one's ever been murdered over religion.
What needs to be said about Mexico, you're off the grid. You don't own a cell phone. You're an hour from pavement, and you're an hour from electricity.
Wow.
But you pedal a bike?
And I went from the governor's residence to that, imagine.
Is it a nice house, at least?
Oh, yeah, beautiful home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the taxes are marvelous down there.
I bet.
You know what my taxes are? I have a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath with a casita on the back. I have my own swimming pool, 30 of my own palm trees, and it's all encased in a wall thing, a 2.5-car garage. My property taxes down there are $400 a year.
Wow.
Wow.
And get this. Now, here's the better part about it. They get it and we don't. And I'll state it this way. At least in Minnesota. Now, I can't speak for all the states, but I'll speak for the one I govern. In Minnesota, the government and taxation, they penalize good behavior and reward bad. Mm-hmm. Case in point, your home. If you buy your home, fix it up and make it better, like a good citizen, right? How do they reward you? You pay more.
You pay more, right?
So by using their analogy, you should buy the house, let it go to shit, be the worst house on the block, then they'll reward you. You'll pay less.
You know something?
Now, do you know how
I agree with Jesse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know how it works in Mexico? This is embarrassing. We should be embarrassed up here. Do you know how property taxes work down there? There, they reward good behavior. Your property taxes are due in March. If you agree and pay them in January, they knock off 20%. If you pay them in February, they knock off 10%. March is normal, and then the fines start. Well, I pay mine on January 28th. Of course, February is a shortened month. So in 30 days, I'm getting 20% on my money. Tell me where I can do that legally. Mm-hmm. Now, we should be embarrassed that their system is so much superior to ours. Down there, they reward good behavior.
As far as, yes,
you
that
pay,
goes.
you pay early, you're rewarded.
As far as that goes, you're very true.
Yeah.
You're very right. I agree with that. But there are some downsides
certainly.
of living in, well, maybe not living in, and especially you. I mean, you obviously have the means
certainly.
to buy something nice down there. There are a lot of impoverished people down there.
Absolutely. But the thing that's good about it, when you go to Mexico, it's understood the government's corrupt. See, we're on an ego trip up here. We kind of like to think our government's not. I got news for you, people. We're as corrupt as any Mexican government. It's just that they're open about it. Down there, you know it. By the way, I have a get-out-of-jail-free card. I've been pulled over twice by the federales, the federal police, where they kind of hold you up for money. All I do is pull out my governor's ID and say, I know Presidente Fox and Presidente Calderon. You just have a warning. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I've done it twice.
I bet that
works.
works.
2 times.
You worried about crime down there? Because Giuliani didn't even want to go without his own security. Do you have security with you? Or?
Never.
No?
I'm safer where I'm at. Are you kidding me? I've seen old women walking along the roads where I live, where I'm in far more danger in Minneapolis, Minnesota than I am in Mexico. Where the danger is in Mexico is the borders. Mm-hmm. And why? Well, let's go back in history. Who created the border towns? We did, the United States. We created Tijuana, Nuevo Laredo, Nogales, and all them crappy we're on Sirius Radio, right?
Yeah, you curse.
So I can curse.
Yeah.
We created all those shitholes, right? Do you know how? The prohibition of alcohol. When we prohibited alcohol, everybody that wanted to drink went over the border to Mexico to drink. Well, there came the prostitutes. There came all the bullshit. Now, the same holds true today. You have violence at the border. We all remember the Virginia Tech murders?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, do you know what the headlines were that day in the Mexico papers? It said USA 33, Mexico 20. It was like a sports score, because on that same day, Mexico lost 20 of their people at the border. The difference is ours only happens once a decade, like Virginia Tech. Theirs is a daily thing. And why? Because of the illegality of drugs and the prohibition. That's what, if we want to stop all the killing, then stop the prohibition. It seems to me in our country, we're more fearful of marijuana than murder. Because we're prohibiting marijuana, which is causing all the murders.
Is it marijuana, though, or the cocaine traffickers are the ones that tend to be really violent?
It's all of them. Because it's all lumped together with the cartels.
Would you want to legalize cocaine also and all drugs?
When you speak legalize, let's remember, I think marijuana should be treated identical to liquor.
Absolutely.
Because I'll tell you, it's less. In fact, it's a lesser of a drug.
Of course.
Because how many kids do we hear at college who binge drink every year and die?
Yeah.
We hear about it every year. Yet you can't smoke pot and die immediately.
Smoking is
now you might die in 40 years from cancer, maybe from inhaling the smoke, but it's not going to kill you that night. There isn't enough weed in the world that could kill you in one night.
It's also a personal choice you're making, too. If you want to smoke it and take the risk of cancer, you should be able to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and now, so to me, let's bring... I think Franklin Roosevelt said it at the end of Prohibition of alcohol, and I think it's a great quote. He said...
I can't feel my legs?
No, not quite. He said we can no longer afford to prohibit alcohol anymore. I say you switch alcohol and marijuana now and say we can no longer afford to prohibit marijuana anymore.
Right.
I saw, those little stores in L.A. where they sell the medicinal if you got a script?
Medical marijuana, yeah.
I saw a story where they went into the guy, now it's all prescription, and it was a guy in a wheelchair, runs a little shop about as big as your studio right here. And they asked him, they said, how much did you pay with prescription-only pot in sales tax to the state of California last year? You know what he said? $300,000.
Wow.
Now, if it was legal like liquor, he would be saying $1 million. Now, in these economic times, isn't it smart to get a new revenue source?
Schwarzenegger's actually saying that, though. You, in a way, agree. I think Schwarzenegger's kind of toying with that idea.
Absolutely.
So you actually agree with Arnold on that.
He's in a desperate spot right now.
Exactly. Our whole country's in a desperate spot.
Apparently.
And wouldn't it be
How great would it be that marijuana saves this country?
Well, it won't save it, but it's one of the building blocks. If you can get more revenue coming, and one thing is not going to solve the economy. You're going to have about 30 things to solve it. But this could be one.
How much more of the Predator cast is for legalizing pot?
I would say all of them.
Oh, right. Just checking.
I would say Sonny'd have to be for it.
Yeah,
Sonny Landham.
Sonny
I wouldn't think Sonny'd have no problem with it. I don't think Carl and Bill would have a problem with it.
Carl
Bill Duke and Carl Weathers.
Seems like he might poke a little bit, sure.
Shane Black, who wrote Lethal Weapon, I don't think he'd have a problem with it.
Good. I just was a little curious on that one. Now,
Elpidia, now I don't know. Elpidia Carrillo, the Mexican girl. I don't know what Elpidia's spot would be on it.
Get to the chopper. It was
very good. I like that.
I've seen it so many times.
Get to the chopper.
Now we got to get into something because I'm agreeing with you on everything you said so far.
So good. All right.
But now there are a couple of issues, Jesse, where I think we part ways a little bit.
And what might that be?
That would be what I heard he's talking about on Larry King about Guantanamo. And the insurgents, the victims, the tortured people, the bad guys, the terrorists, the poor guys, whatever you want to, depending on which side, whatever they're being called.
Muslims.
This day. Muslims.
Well, we only seem to waterboard Muslims.
Well, when they're the only ones crashing in the building.
Oh, not true.
Well,
Timothy McVeigh and Nichols, why didn't we waterboard them?
Well, we kind of knew they did it.
Yeah, but many people felt there were more people involved. Shouldn't we have waterboarded them to find out? But we can't, can we? Because it's against the law.
Well, we did execute one of them.
They were covered under the Constitution of the United States of America.
Right.
The insurgents, the victim, whatever you want to call them.
They should be too.
Not, but they are not.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Our country is our country.
But it's,
you go by the rule of, if you don't follow the rule of law when it's convenient, you must also follow it when it's inconvenient. Torture is illegal.
But there's a difference.
No, there is not.
There is a difference between people, American citizens protected by the Constitution, and wartime prisoners that are
protected by what?
The Geneva Convention.
Exactly.
But they don't qualify for that either.
Only because that's what the torture people are using as semantics to get away with it. It's just like when they call it enhanced interrogation.
Right.
Oh, what a neat word to come up with that you can substitute for torture.
Well, it is a shame
I've
how
been
many people
waterboarded.
I heard.
I know that.
Yeah, I
and
heard.
It's torture.
Yep.
John McCain has been waterboarded. He said, isn't it ironic that the guys who have been waterboarded and the guys who have actually served their country are opposed to the torture, and it's all these pukes like Dick Cheney, who got 5 deferments from the Vietnam War. He's all for it and creates it because he never had to put his ass on the line, did he?
Shouldn't it be on the table? Shouldn't that be on the table, at least as a threat for information?
No, because the information's fraudulent. That's why I made the quote. You give me Dick Cheney a waterboard in an hour, and I'll have him confess to the Tate murders.
I understand.
Because when you're being tortured, you will say whatever it is to stop the torture.
Yeah.
So there's no credibility to what. Why do you think it's not allowed in the courts?
But the threat.
There are no buts.
The threat of a torture. Let me tell you.
Okay,
when you go public
then we
and
stoop to their level, don't we?
I'm not saying. I'm not.
What's
even
next?
Saying
Should we lop some heads off?
Right? I'm not even saying torture them, but I'm saying to publicly say this is what we're never going to use takes a tool away. It's called the tool of fear, not actually torturing. Let's say, and believe me, I'm not even for that. But I'm talking with you here.
I know.
Why would a president or anybody else for that matter say we're never going to use this? It's a bad thing to tell the opposition what you're taking off the table, regardless if you use it or not.
Because that puts us above them.
But by
and
being
if
above them,
if we stoop to their level, we're no better than they are.
But you know something, we are, because
we're not.
When we bomb places, we have to make sure they're strategic strikes.
We don't.
When we have bombs
are you kidding me?
You know
how many civilians you think have died in Afghanistan and Iraq from our supposed surgical strikes?
Because war isn't perfect. Unfortunately, we can't just kill the bad guys. That's why it's war and it's bad.
And that's why we shouldn't be in either one of them.
But I'm saying Afghanistan too. We shouldn't be in.
No.
Why? Al Qaeda are the people.
No, excuse me. We went to war with Al Qaeda because they supposedly would not turn over bin Laden. That's all they did. Al Qaeda. That's all they did. We said to Al Qaeda, turn over bin Laden. Al Qaeda said no, and that's why we're fighting them.
Well, the Taliban, you mean?
or the Taliban.
The
Excuse
Taliban
me, the
was
Taliban.
they were the head muckety mucks lopping off heads and doing whatever they do. But don't you think that somebody had to be held responsible? And I know some of your theories on 9/11.
They're not theories; they're questions. And in our country, you're not allowed to ask them anymore.
You have theories, though.
No, I have questions. I have questions. That's all. Not theories. I have questions.
Your take on what happened is not what the official line is.
Right.
You feel...
I follow what Thomas Jefferson said. Dissension's the greatest form of patriotism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
so I dissent. I question my government.
I agree with everyone's right to do that. Absolutely.
But why does everyone get angry when you question 9/11? People get angry at you and they call you names. And they do all this stuff, and all I do, there's things about 9/11 that are very peculiar to me.
That whole day was a bit peculiar.
Yeah, and I do have a background, I think, in demolition. I was trained by the best guys we have in the country. And when I look at those buildings and I see how the cement was pulverized to powder, what type of energy could cause that? Not a simple fall.
Well, that wasn't
not a simple fall. Yeah, they said one floor pancaked into the other and down they went.
A lot of weight.
Well, how would that pulverize 900 tons of cement into dust?
People are questioning, I think, because you do have the demolition background, the Navy SEAL background. How come it was like on September 12th or 13th? Like, you kind of came out a couple of years later. And I think that's what people are questioning. Like, there have been so many theories about it before.
Because at the time I was governor, I didn't have time to question it. When you're governor, that's a full-time job, believe me. And so it was after I got... You know what made me question 9/11? Here's what did it. After I got out of office and Bush said we're going to invade Iraq, I stepped back and went, Iraq? Wait a minute. The 19 guys they told us that did this, there wasn't one Iraqi.
Right.
Why are we going into Iraq? And that's when I started to question. I said, ooh, what's the real big picture
But how did that
here?
make you change your view of the physical?
What's the real big picture here?
But you could question that, but it doesn't have to necessarily tie into 9/11. It could tie into Saddam Hussein tried to kill my daddy. That's pretty much what I think.
The point is, all of it wouldn't have happened without 9/11.
That was a catalyst because he was able to use the fear of terrorism and potential threat of Saddam Hussein, which turned out to be bullshit.
To lie to us.
I'm not going to disagree.
Right.
That was the weapons, big lie, lie. But
well, if they'd lie about that, wouldn't they lie about other things?
Just because I lie to one thing doesn't mean I'm lying about a murder.
Okay,
I could lie that I stole something. It doesn't necessarily mean I would lie for something more important.
All right, let's go back to my generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Vietnam vet. Now, I remember when the President Johnson got on TV and told us our boys are floating in the water for the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which is what got us into the Vietnam War, where 58,000 of my generation were killed, probably 1 million Vietnamese killed, who knows how many. And they've now come out and said that wasn't true. It never happened. Now, if they would fraudulently build up the Gulf of Tonkin incident to get us to war, you think they wouldn't fraudulently take us to war again?
In that fashion, I'm not too sure about that.
Really?
In the fashion of taking down two huge, very symbolic buildings, killing a lot of innocent American people, in that fashion, no. And the demolition thing, I like to, because you say you're in demolition.
I was trained by the best.
You know what it takes to wire a building that size for demolition.
Not much.
How would you do that in a working building?
Easy.
When you see,
let me explain.
When I see them demolish buildings, they're drilling holes. They're planting. There's wires, cables.
All right. Great. First of all, the World Trade Center had construction going on a daily basis. Every time a tenant moved out, they had to redo whatever floor they were on. And I learned this from guys that worked there. They said construction was an everyday thing. Construction workers would walk in and out all the time. You want to know how to do it? Be the UPS man. Show up with your brown truck. You got access to every floor. You can carry boxes up to any floor. Who's going to ever question? You're the UPS
plant
guy.
Enough explosives
covertly
to take down two buildings that are 100 stories tall.
Do you know anything about the modern demolition?
I've seen many
Do you know what super thermite
documentaries
is? Do you know what superthermite is?
No, but I assume it would be a very high temperature.
It's a highly explosive demolition that you can put on like painting the walls. It doesn't become a demo till it dries, and it can be made into paint. You could have people painting superthermite right here in the building, and they wouldn't even know it.
I would love to see a demonstration of it used to take down pillars of cement.
I can show you superthermite
without drilling into the superstructure.
I can show you superthermite. We just did it for a pilot I'm doing on True Channel. We showed superthermite simply painted onto I-beam steel and detonated, and it burned right through it. I-beam steel.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question just about 9/11? I would almost believe a conspiracy theorist. Why go?
The government's is just a theory.
Let me just ask you, why wouldn't they just, to go through all that and go through the planes? Why wouldn't they just bring the buildings down? Take 2 trucks, however they do it, get them into the basement. If you can bypass the security at the airport, if you can do all that, you can get trucks into the basement. You somehow make a proclamation that Saddam Hussein has said he is going to attack a major New York City. That day, you drop both buildings. You A, kill a lot more people. You B, remove almost all of the X factors that can fuck you up, like a plane not taking off because of mechanical failure. And you give the entire American public a galvanizing reason to go into Iraq. That is so much simpler and so much easier to control. Why wouldn't they? I mean, if they could,
I don't know.
Why not something simple? Why 4 airplanes and possibly more, and then you leave Zacharias Moussaoui to be tried? It's embarrassing.
There's a lot of unanswered questions, and that's my point. Why is it that when you ask questions about 9/11, you're immediately attacked? Why aren't you allowed to ask a question about it? If you saw something that you don't understand, which there are many things I don't understand that day. Why June 1st? Did George Bush do an executive order changing how we respond to air attacks? Up until that point, base commanders were left to their discretion whether we sent jets up, and that happened like 170 times a year. Jets would go up in the air. Yet June 1st, through an executive order, no jets were allowed to go in the air unless it was cleared through Donald Rumsfeld at the DOD. So in essence, you could have a stand down simply by Rumsfeld not answering his phone. Because no one had permission to go up in the air. Where was our air defense that day? Here you had 4 commercial hijacked airplanes covering 2 to 3, 4 hours a time, and we didn't have one jet in the air. Yet, go back to do you remember Payne Stewart, the golfer?
Yeah.
Okay, Payne Stewart took off from Florida in a private plane. They went up and lost contact. Within 20 minutes, they had a fighter jet up on the wing. He said, they're slumped over. I can't raise them. They appear to be dead. He followed them to Nebraska or whatever. When they didn't hit Omaha, he let them go down. Well, this was a private plane out of Florida. And we had a jet up there within 20 minutes. Here you've got 4 hijacked planes and not one. Let's look at the government's theory, and I call theirs a theory too. They've never proven any of this.
But Jesse, you're saying 4. Hold on, you're saying 4 planes. Just not to interrupt you, but you're saying 4 planes. You remember too? They were up, and it was very, very quick. Like when the one plane went up, the bunch of stuff happened. A lot of people, the air traffic control wasn't exactly sure what was happening.
Yeah,
and the next thing you know, it's flying into a plane.
Because ironically, we were holding war games that day. Now, did the terrorists know this? And if they did, who leaked it to them? How did they know to do it on a day when NORAD is running these huge war games where it would confuse all the air? Remember the quotes from the air traffic controllers? Is this real or is this part of the war game? They didn't know. Now, that fits bad for us either way. Because either it was done intentionally or the terrorists got inside our government to the point of knowing when we run war games.
But didn't they call the plot?
So somebody's not doing their job here.
The plot was called Porsche 9/11, I believe. So they knew that they were going on September 11th. So you're taking into account, if the government's involved and there's war games involved, bad weather ruins your entire plot. That's why I believe that the 19 guys caught this country with our pants down and they used lax security.
Let me ask this. How are they able to identify these guys within 24 hours and yet not able to stop them?
I don't
they
think
had
they,
pictures on
you know
TV. Yeah, they showed us pictures.
Because they didn't try to hide themselves. They were on the manifest.
Well,
Their names were on the manifest.
Really? Who's seen the manifest? The government won't release the manifests. When have you seen them?
Well, I haven't seen the manifest.
No one has. No one has. The government won't release the manifests. Why? All right, let's go to the Pentagon. The Pentagon has over 200 cameras that run 24/7. Why did the government confiscate all those cameras, and why are we not allowed to see the plane hit? All you see is this little flash that they allowed you to see, yet the Pentagon has cameras all over it. And how was that plane able to circle for 40 minutes in a no-fly zone and not be shot out of the air?
Question.
And then it ties in. When Cheney was down in the bunker, and Mineta, the transportation secretary, testified to this in open 9/11. He said a kid walked in and said, "Mr. Vice President, the plane's 50 miles out. Mr. Vice President, the plane's 30 miles out. Mr. Vice President, the plane's 10 miles out. Do the orders still stand?" Mineta testified, and Cheney snapped around and said, "Of course they still stand. Have you heard anything contrary?" Well, what orders are we talking about here? And if he knew and was being a report that this plane was approaching approaching Washington, D.C., why weren't buildings being evacuated? Why wasn't it being shot out of the air?
Well, maybe
a lot of
they
questions
handled it. You're
like
right.
that.
They did handle it terribly, but I don't think
it was handled horribly.
That's implying that the vice president and the president know a plane is being crashed, and they're going, "Well, the plane's on schedule to hit the Pentagon."
All right,
That doesn't
hold
make
on.
sense.
Now here the plot thickens. Now Bush was down at that school, right, talking to the kids,
right?
And remember the 7 minutes he sat there frozen in the classroom,
right?
All right. The Secret Service is under the Department of Justice. They don't even take orders from the president. If they feel the president's in danger, they whisk him to safety. Now, the president's trip to Florida to that school was a photo op. So it was well documented he was going to be in that school. Card comes up to him and tells him a second plane hit, we're under attack. Now, planes are flying into buildings. 2 of them have done it now. Why did the Secret Service allow Bush to sit there for 7 minutes when, for all purposes, a plane could have been bearing down on that school at the very moment that he was in there? Who would know? We're under attack from flying planes. They knew he was there. He should have been whisked out of that room immediately. But it was almost like they knew.
I just think we had this perception that we were protected a lot better than we actually were. Yeah. We always had this perception that there were missiles on top of the White House and things would happen if something like this ever happened. But you know something? We just were not as prepared as we would have liked to have been. And like Jimmy said,
so a memo on August 6th that said the exact thing that was going to happen while our president was vacationing in Crawford, Texas. The memo of August 6th said exactly Osama bin Laden's planning to hijack planes and fly them into buildings.
And it was
I can tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Had I been the president, 9/11 might not have happened because I would have responded to that memo. I wouldn't have gone on vacation
to Crawford. The other investigator that went down to the flight school and spoke with people that said this gentleman is trying to fly a plane. It's very suspicious. He doesn't fly very well. He's not concerned with landing. Like that to me is evidence also that this guy is a Middle Eastern gentleman that was flying a plane and pulling up red flags.
Let's look at the actual hijackers. Now, Osama bin Laden is a purist Muslim who goes by the old traditional Muslim. We'll all agree to that, right? Whether you agree with what he believes in.
What do you mean, the purist?
Purist. He's a Muslim who believes in the faith. Like we're the infidels, we should be out of their country and all this.
I think al-Zawahiri is more the strict religious guy than he is.
Okay, well, both of them then, whatever. But these guys that hijacked, they were not strict to the faith. They were going to stripper bars. They followed him. Well,
they were following orders, whether they're...
But if you're going to go die and you believe in Allah and you believe in the purity and the sanctity of the religion and you're now going to die, wouldn't you live cleanly?
They're not very rational if you're going to take a plane and fly it into a building. So
they're flying civilians into a building.
But you're not listening to me. These guys don't fit.
They perfectly fit.
No,
they were.
No, they don't.
They were fanatics. Perhaps not as religious as you would think they would be if they're going to fly into buildings, but you got to be a little cuckoo to fly into a fucking building with planes full of people. So, perhaps they weren't strictly adhering to this Muslim faith.
I would. If I were a religious person, if I was that religious and you know you're going to die, would you want to offend God right before you die?
They obviously didn't look at it like that. They look at it like
you can't obviously say what they looked at.
Sure you can, because they behave that way.
Yeah, so they weren't. See, to me, they're not the followers of Bin Laden and them because of their behavior.
I want a question for you. This 9/11 was 75% successful, according to what they wanted to do. The passengers overtook that final plane once they all knew for a fact what was happening.
I don't believe that either.
I know you don't. But
Cell phones don't work that high then.
But they were low. They weren't flying at 30,000 feet. But let's just say, let's say for the sake of argument, the passengers attacked. If the pilots are not trained to open that door and negotiate, if those doors are locked and at the first sign of trouble, they allow that woman's throat to be cut and they do not open the doors, 9/11 doesn't happen.
All right. Here's another one for you. You got 4 experienced pilots that were flying these planes, like the guy that flew the Pentagon plane, Burlingame, former Top Gun. Tough as you can get. Now, they have a thing on all commercial planes where all you've got to do is punch in some numbers and it's a code that you're being hijacked. Why did none of the 4 planes, none of them, that number was never punched in?
Probably because they were smart the way they did it. They would attack the stewardess, and the pilots were trained to open the door and negotiate, which is a horrible...
But they still would hit that before they would do anything. It doesn't require any words. All that does is send out to everyone who needs to know we're being hijacked.
Well,
none of the 4 planes did that.
Well, didn't the stewardess say open the door?
And a guy like Burlingame... Guys that knew him said he would never give his plane up. He would die first.
So then how did they get it? I don't know why they didn't.
I don't know.
He might have died
first.
But
he was a tough guy. He was a karate guy. He would top in self-defense, all this stuff.
When you got a guy with a box cutter...
Ooh, yeah, box cutters
when you got
are
a guy
real
with a box
dangerous.
Cutter to a girl's throat, perhaps, then the guy isn't going to charge in and start fighting, knowing that somebody's life is threatened. You got to look, in hindsight,
let's remember
if you
now.
think these planes are going to fly into the ground and everything like that, you're going to do whatever you have to do.
Okay, here's what we have to believe then, and which all of you do, that 19 Islamic hijackers armed with box cutters defeated our multi-billion-dollar air defense system that the Soviets couldn't.
And the threat of a bomb.
The Soviets couldn't do it, but these 19 guys, all while taking orders and conspiring with a bearded guy in a cave in Afghanistan.
Yeah, a billionaire who has funds and who has a network of people. He's not some broke guy. He's a construction billionaire.
Yeah, and in fact, you're correct there, because his brother Salem, he helped bail out George Bush on one of his horrible business ventures.
Them being tied in, I don't even disagree.
Oil families are a very small group of people in this world.
And George Bush is part of it.
Oh, he is. He absolutely is.
But he didn't orchestrate 9/11. So dislike him as much as you want.
I'm not saying he did.
No, I know. But
I'm just saying that if they didn't orchestrate it, I believe that they didn't do much to stop it.
19 guys caught the U.S. with their pants down because first of all, they had the threat of a bomb, which everyone...
What threat of a bomb?
They said they had a bomb. People were calling on their cell phones saying that these Muslim guys or whatever they said or Arabic guys have hijacked us. And this is coming from people who were on the plane, and they said they have a bomb. That's how they stopped the mutiny from the passengers.
How did they get the bomb through security?
They didn't. There was no bomb. But that was what they...
You'd be that stupid on the plane? Wouldn't you if you were on the plane? I would think.
Jesse, you're different. You're not a businessman on your way to L.A. to do something.
No, I'm a governor.
But you're also a fucking wrestler and a Navy SEAL. You think differently than the average citizen.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Regular guys aren't 6'5". They can throw somebody through the window.
Pre-9/11, your mindset, if you're a regular average Joe flying, was if some fucking shenanigans happen, I'm going to sit in my seat, shut up, and hope we land and they, deal with this problem.
Because it had never happened.
Because it hadn't happened. If they knew right off the bat that they were flying into buildings, you would do everything you could. Every old lady would be scratching friggin' eyeballs out. That's, I think, the mindset now is what you're thinking, but it's hindsight.
The pilots would have done something. You tell me they couldn't have dipped that plane. They knew they were going to be flown into buildings. They would have dipped that plane and dropped everybody. They would have lowered the air pressure.
If you want. Anything. But
No, it had never happened. You negotiated. They would ask for the freedom of political prisoners, and you would land. No one had ever flown passenger planes into buildings. And the shitty intelligence, the lack of communication between the FBI and the CIA, that was all terrible. That was all terrible, but that doesn't mean that it was a conspiracy by the U.S. government.
You got your ideas on it in questions, like you said.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that what troubles me in this country is that on this issue, you're not allowed to talk about it.
But you are.
Well, no, without people insulting you. Now, you guys are different, but I get you get insulted.
You're right.
You get called Rosie O'Donnell. I've been called that now because I...
Hey, it's Opie from Opie and Anthony, and that does it for us. We're done. Go find someone else to entertain you. We're done. Ron and Fez, yeah, they're up next.
All right, hooray!
On the Virus, XM202, Sirius 197.
Hey, Jesse Ventura. A lot of controversy. We were in the middle of our Jesse Ventura interview. I kind of liked that it was more of a discussion yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
Everyone was hoping for the big, Anthony gets punched in the face, Kenny chokes out Jesse Ventura, that whole thing. Luck. And trust me, I was secretly hoping that there'd be some kind of confrontation. Not that you would get hurt, my friend.
But
it just makes for great radio.
I think...
but it was a good discussion.
Yeah, we did that the first time. Jimmy really and him got into a pretty good match last time around. This time it was kind of let him get his shit out without us interjecting a lot during what he wanted to say, and then we comment on what he said. It was more of a discussion, conversation stuff. But I was just I was stupefied by some of the stuff this guy believes, thinks, theories. He pawns it off and tries to make it like, I'm just asking questions.
Well, he would be able to push his agenda forward a little better if he didn't get so crazy with his theories. Like, I think you should question the government. I wonder what the government knew and what they decided not to do. All that. I do wonder some of that stuff. But when you get to, you know how easy it is to demolish the buildings with that paint and this and that, I'm like, Jesse,
the exploding paint.
That's where you're losing so many people with your questions.
When I heard him come up with that exploding paint is what took down buildings, and they can go in there and paint it and then blow it up like a demolition crew would through weeks, maybe months of drilling holes and placing charges in structural beams. That's how they do it.
Right.
And he's talking about this paint. Well, first of all, you'd have to rip all the sheetrock off the walls and get to the beams to paint them if there's exploding paint. It just sounded ridiculous, exploding paint.
Let me jump in for a second, Ed, because all the conspiracy theory guys, they were losing the argument with exactly what you're saying. You're trying to tell me that they demolitioned this building while people are working full time in the building. So now in their minds, like, all right, well, yeah, I guess that would be crazy with all the dust flying and the holes being drilled. So then they had to come up with another way that it was done. And someone somewhere out there said, well, they got this paint.
Exploding paint.
And now it's solved that issue, that problem with their conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Because that was a little shaky, right?
Yeah. I was saying the exploding paint is on the shelf right next to the paint that you paint the tunnel that you can run through, and then the person behind you hits the brick wall. What kind of fucking fantasy land exploding paint is he talking about?
And wouldn't people notice if there was a big wick coming out of the paint?
Yeah, every wall's got a fuse sticking out of it.
Super thermite. But what I want to discuss is that... I don't know. I mean, the master computer, it is so stupid. We've been talking about this for a long time. This satellite radio is set up in such a way where we can't keep the channel live all day long.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre to me. So what happens is, why in between shows does it do that, Dan?
What's that?
Where the computer just, knocks us off the air.
That's all programming down in D.C. because we're still running off of XM's scheduling.
But why can't they fix it? Where
they did? Well, you know what? It was there, and then we took it away, and then it was put back for some odd reason, and now it's gone again.
It is the dumbest thing.
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know why it keeps going back and forth. I don't know who's making that decision, but it's gone now, so there won't be any kind of conflict like that.
There's a hard out at what 10:51.
There used to be.
Oh, we fixed it after yesterday?
As of yesterday. So today...
So we don't have to discuss this anymore. Finally, they figured it out. Okay.
So Rich Voss won't get interrupted, thank God.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Yeah, but at 10:51, the computer literally just takes us off the air to play promos and whatnot. And I never understood why, but that's what happened yesterday in the middle of Jesse Ventura ranting to Raven. We all knew we were running out of show. We're like, uh-oh. I didn't think it was going to hit at 10:51.
I thought it was great. I thought mid-sentence in his babbling, it just went dead.
It did work nicely, right?
It really did.
We had video rolling, and the video's up on the Opie Radio YouTube channel.
As to what happened after the mics went off.
What I love is he's trying to continue, and you're being polite, but you can't wait to get out of here. You can't get out of here fast enough.
I got my coat on. I got my bag in my hands. I'm in running position.
Right. Jimmy's searching for a Sharpie. All he cares about is an autograph.
Thermite paint. Like, thermite. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Someone else pointed out that Danny's pushing Kenny out of the way. Just everybody wants out.
Yes. Yay.
Especially because he's here.
Yeah.
In general, when the show's over, we all want to just move on with our lives.
Right.
But yesterday, it just gives you a nice insight. And it's like, as he's just packing his bag.
That sounds great. Sounds great.
And Jimmy's getting all nervous, like, I don't know if I'm going to get my autograph. I don't know if I'm going to get my autograph.
I know, he's yelling about bomb paint. You want to leave?
Yeah. So it's up there if you want to check it out. Let's say hi to Dan the Trucker. Dan, first call of the day. Welcome to Opie and Anthony. Hey, man.
What's going on, guys? Trucker Dan here. How are you?
Hi, Dan.
Hey, I was listening to, they got 2 weeks of free Howard. I didn't know.
Do they? I never would have known.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it was about 2 in the morning, nothing else on. I thought I'd listen in and stuff. They had Jesse Ventura on their show. I would have had Jesse on there, and then, of course, he was going ranting and raving with all of his lunacy about the waterboarding and the 9/11. And at least you guys contested some of the stuff. They were sitting there. Howard was calling Vice President Cheney a warmonger. They were just agreeing with everything that came out of Jesse's mouth. I couldn't stand it. I had to at least turn off during that interview. I mean, I turned it back on later on.
Does anyone agree with
Howard
that nut?
Talk about himself.
You gotta question what Jesse's saying.
Yeah, it's outrageous. You have to question it. And they were just kind of like, softballing him and agreeing with him. And it was like, man, at least Anthony and Jimmy were giving him hell, about everything that came out of his
language.
Mouth.
Well, what you want to do is represent the other side because,
Yeah.